you sure you're good without your computer?
I'll go get a loaner and have that for the back end. I would rather y'all be able to stream this. Let's check sound.
Can you copy these things?
Yeah, I'll G-chat it. Yeah.
Wait. All my tabs are gone.
I'm gonna G-chat you the link.
Yes. Wonderful.
Can you test and talk into the mic just so we can?
Hello. Hi. Hello.
This should last. Just keep an eye on battery in case it's.
Did you G-chat me the link?
Yeah, I G-chatted you the link to your SSD.
This EduRoam is like weirdly going out.
Always. Maybe it's worth that $10 laptop.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh.
Oh yeah, so it's right there, 11 times.
Oh. Wait, this is. Wait. Who is watching? Wait, I'm gonna go out there and see.
Double check the sound.
Yeah, can you just like continue talking?
Yeah. Go. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready.
Test. Test.
Okay.
I don't think it's percent. I think he just brought it here.
Just. Yes. Like it's like disconnecting. It's like the pop-up message or something. It's horrible.
And I already reinstalled it.
Really, it's so broken. I've been using my hotspot when that happens. That's odd. All right, everyone. Hello. Oh, I need to mute myself. All right. I call this meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. Will the Student Senate Secretary please take the roll call?
Aleem, Avery, Barrett, Barry, Britt, Butler, Kai, Kars, Kazola, Sapero, Shiganti, Shavali, Dale, Dandurand, Dewberry,
Present.
Donanjay, Dixon, Echaburu, Edinger, El Shafe, Evans Robinson, Falso, Francis, Frank, Garcia, Hassan, Hayes, Hester, Hollister, Jensen, Joyner, Karaturi, Khan, Kalu, Lanzafama, Levy, Lewis, McCoy, Mengastab, Nandula, Paratala, Raman, I'm present, Reed, Rolf, Saji, Sambath, Syed, Scott, Shackles, Spencer, Stack, Stanet, Salaji, Taylor, Tanasaka Mahia, Thomas, Trask, Walter Jr., Way, Williams, Wilson, Whitehead, Zolakan, Yin, Young, and Zhao.
All right. Was there anyone who's missed? Okay. Anyone else? All right. With 54 present, 14 absent, and 1 proxy, we do have quorum and our business will be valid. All right. Next, we're going to move into the recitation of student government mission statement. So everyone, please repeat after me. Founded and funded by students, the NC State University student government encourages students to express their concerns and ideas, promotes an environment of open discourse and academic excellence, and proactively represents the student voice to the university administration and board of trustees through ethical and accountable public service. All right, next we move into the approval of the journal of the previous meeting's minutes, and we did receive some corrections, so our secretary will go over those corrections.
We had 2 clarifications. One was a pro changed to a con for Stack, and then another one was a clerical error for Stack's vote, was changed from no to yes.
All right, while we pull that up, does anyone else have any other corrections or questions? I'll recognize Senator Washington Jr.
I was absent last week, but had a proxy. I can forward the exact wording of my con debate that my proxy sent because it wasn't completely accurate per the minutes.
Yeah, we'll have our pro temp copy and paste it over for you since he has.
Okay,
information.
perfect.
All right, with that, and knowing that that will be corrected, anything else? All right, with that, I'll look favorably upon a motion to approve the journal. I'll recognize Senator Britt for a motion to approve the journal. Do I see a second? Second by Senator Stinnett. All those in favor of approving the journal of the previous meeting's minutes, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it, and they're so approved. All right, next we're going to go into the receipts of petition and correspondence addressed to the Senate, where our presenters have up to 15 minutes to present and 10 minutes for questions and answers. So, and during the questioning period, we're going to do something kind of structured. So Once I recognize you in your query, I'll put your name on this board as a query order list. And also just for everyone to know, you get preferential one question. And then if you have a second question or follow-up, I'll have to make sure that other senators who haven't spoken or asked a question gets a chance to ask their question. And then I can come to you for your second question. But if you have a direct follow-up to your question or to the answer that was stated that relates to the point that you asked, I can grant you that follow-up question. Does anyone have any questions about how this will work? And I'll open up the questions from also the student body and anyone else who is not a student senator. With that, we'll welcome Chancellor Howell to the podium.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Man, it's been a long time since I've been in a student government meeting. And to see all of you here today just takes me back during my days as student body president. Of course, this chamber, I think someone asked me earlier, this chamber didn't look like this when I was in student government. It looks 100% better than, I don't think it was the same. Let me look at the historian, Isaac. I don't think it's the same room that we were in, but I just want to, I'm excited about being here. I'm excited about seeing all of you participating in the governmental process of our university. And I just want to say how thrilled I am that all of you are engaged in student government. I think when I think about being chancellor now, I think about what this entity and what this organization has meant to me. Many of you heard were at my installation or you listened to it, and I'm very grateful for all of you who were able to do that. But I want to be clear tonight, but for student government way back in the 80s, and having that opportunity to exchange ideas, to debate bills, learning civility, learning all about our governmental process, learning how to talk with and to the administration, learning how to talk with my colleagues, you know, from one college to the other, but from a senator to a senator. It's critically important. I've always felt like NC State was special in the sense of how we debated bills. And I've always felt like my colleagues one day, and some of them have, will one day serve not only in the North Carolina General Assembly, but in the Congress. And so I applaud all of you that are involved with student government. Particularly tonight, I want to applaud your leadership. This is my first time being chancellor. And so my first time working with leaders of the student government, student body president Isaac Carreño, student senate president Dean, have been phenomenal. And let me tell you why. They've been phenomenal in how they show up at meetings. And whether we're talking about trustees meetings and whether they're giving their presentations and how they represent each of you. And not just at board of trustees meeting. That's only one meeting. They've learned. I don't know how they do it personally, because there's always different meetings going on. But the way they represent themselves with other administrators, particularly when I'm not in the room, as well as with our alumni base and across campus, has been phenomenal. And I also see many of the leadership here down front and the job that you guys have done, whether it's with the band or wherever it is on our campus. All of that matters. And I see my good friend, Senator Stack, back there, being a freshman and decided to get engaged like her father did, who was once became student body president, but also became the chair of our board of trustees. All of the things that you do, and you've heard me, and I've seen many of my fraternity brothers there of the best fraternity. I guess I can say that, Alpha Phi Alpha. Sorry about everybody else, but it was a great fraternity for me. But I'm excited to be here And I'm excited because when I look out at that audience, to you and each of you, I see the future of not only NC State, but I see the future of North Carolina. So continue to be involved in student government, continue to debate the bills, but always remember this, continue to respect one another. And I'm gonna stop there just for a little bit. You know, we've got a lot of examples. I've seen that throughout my career, the debates that happen, campaigns. I understand there will be an election sometime in March or whenever later down the year or next year. That will happen. This keeps kind of, but remember to always respect one another. When someone, you know, and I think that's key. I don't know how your debates are, but I know you guys go to, you know, your student senate president like to have long debates till 12 at night, 1 and midnight and all of that. And I know it gets hard sometimes with that. The second thing I'll encourage you to do, you know, during my time, remember your purpose. Remember why you're here. I was grateful to have a father to tell me that academics is number one. You came here for a reason. You came here not only to receive your degree, but that next level, that next step. And there was some times when student government, we in the past, that we would have leaders and they thought this was their number one job. And it's important, it's critical. But what's really important for you is that you finish what you start. And it's important because your parents, the folks when you know that supported you to get this far, want to see you through. And there's always issues that we can all get caught up on. Man, let me debate this one. This was mine. No, I've got it. But also remember the greater purpose for you and for your family. The other thing that I like to say is, look, as your chancellor and being from student government, you know my vision. It's about each of you in this room. We exist. You're going to hear from my colleagues, our CFO, Charlie Mamoni. We're going to hear from Donna McGalliard here, two trusted and great colleagues. But everyone on this campus, someone asked me about my legacy. I'm just getting started. I don't know it, but one of them will be, it's about the students. The sacrifices that you've made to come here, to learn. And I always remind people, take a moment every now and then to just close your eyes, to think about when you were trying to decide where you wanted to attend college. And sometimes whether you're a senior or a freshman, it's important to reflect back just a little bit. Don't stay there. But remember going to your mailbox. Remember opening that letter. And remember what it said, that you were admitted. And I want to put some perspective on that. This past year, many of you have heard me talk about the number of students that apply to NC State. It's 50,000 students that applied for about 6,000 seats. 50,000 for 6,000 seats. And each year it's gone up. So that's like 3 or 4 years in. It tells me a lot about you and your classmates, that you are, and how North Carolina and how this university needs you to finish what you started. So I want you to know that the heart of for our administration is always about students. Students are first, and you see that through WPAC, Engineering North Carolina's Future, the Elevate program, many programs that you've heard me talk about earlier. The only other thing I want to share with you tonight is, because I know we've got question time, and I really want you guys to get out of here a little bit earlier. I'm not going anywhere. I'm around on campus anytime. Love to come back anytime. But I really just wanted to say thank you. And what I mean by that thank you is just how you represent yourself. Whether some of you have the opportunity to visit with other universities, to talk with other student governments. Tonight, this evening, I was down at the president's office, and he was talking about NC State, President Hans. and talking about our students and how each of you represent each other. And so for that, I'm very grateful to you. And at this time, Madam President, be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Are there any questions? No questions? I'll recognize Senator Rolf.
Senator Wood.
Rolf.
Okay.
Rolf. But so a question I have for you, and maybe this kickstarts other questions, but there, especially with our last chancellor, there was definitely some hostility, or more accurately, some pretty harsh criticism of how he handled certain situations. So I guess what I want to ask my question is, what do you want to see collaboration wise from student government to kind of avoid the disconnect of how you may see things and how we understand them to be, if that makes sense?
Great question. Thank you. I'm not aware of hostility towards Chancellor Woodson, but let me say this. I think for me, the way it's working now, I started out talking about your leaders, but I also talk about many of the members that are here today when I see them on campus. When there are issues, we try to address them. We try to answer those issues. And so it's the collaboration. It's been, I've seen it at, I've had the privilege of working downtown with legislators for years. It's the only way. You're going to hear from our chief financial officer early tonight. I'm trying to see the senator that asked me about, some of the construction work that's going on campus. Let's use that as an example. Where are you? Yeah, right here. And I'm not sure if you had a chance. Well, if we've got construction work on, simple question was, hey, can you put out a notice in that? And oftentimes the answer is yes, if we know it, if something happens during that construction process. But I think just those kinds of things, that's just one example. Or let your student body president know and let your student senate president know, and we'll do our best to address it. No, but thank you for that.
All right. And also just a reminder, this is live streamed and available on YouTube. And if I write your name on the board, you may just automatically speak after the presenters finish speaking, and just state your full name for Chancellor Howell to know.
Okay. Hello, Chancellor Howell. I'm over here.
Okay.
My name is Genesee. Thank you so much for coming to speak with us tonight. I was just going to ask, when you were student body president, did you ever imagine that you'd become chancellor?
Oh, boy. I did not. And gotta take a moment. Hold on. Ooh. I think that's what makes this place very special. And maybe that's what I was trying to say earlier. I think our steps sometimes we don't know our plan. We think we know our plans. And maybe the most important thing is the person that's sitting beside you or the person that's in front of you, you don't ever know if that's the person that's going to help you somewhere down the road, or if that's the person when you go to interview and you recognize them and you're like, hey, we were at NC State together. But that answer is no, I did not see that. And I'll go a step further. Even when I was vice chancellor or assistant to the chancellor, I didn't have my steps planned or said this is what I wanted to do. But I realized that by being in student government, I never thought that I would say this. It prepared me. In fact, it prepared me for this NC State education, prepared me for everything that came after that. By being able to be in a room with colleagues and to talk with people from all over the world, all over the state, and each major in each college, not only prepared me, but you look at our alumni base, you look at our university, and I look at you. I think sometimes when we go in through different organizations, no matter what they are, you just think, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I enjoy. But I think last night, I was at the any College of Natural Resources students here today. I was with the Buzzard Leadership Group last night, and we were talking about leadership skills. And so we do these things. And NC State, let me brag on just NC State a little bit. You're going to hear from Donna, but all the number of events and activities that we're involved in, Packapalooza, you know, boy, the list getting longer. Let me stop, okay?
No, you can keep going.
The Packapalooza, this one, I did not. I'm sorry. I don't. All right.
We can extend the period of questions.
Okay. You're going to be here later.
Hi, I'm Bridget Dale. I'm a graduate student in planetary geology at NC State. And first, I'd like to commend you. It's been awesome to have a chancellor who's more personable and more willing to like be on the ground with the students. I definitely see a change there. But my question for you is, what is your game plan for improving the general working conditions for graduate students on TAs and RAs here at NC State?
That's something that I'm working with our CFO, as well as our provost and the graduate dean. We continue to look at that. As most of you are aware, that we do not have a budget at this time. I believe a couple years ago, we put funding in for the graduate tuition plan. But if I would, I'm gonna let Charlie talk about that a little bit later. He's been involved with it before I came back, but graduate students are equally important, if not more important. That's who we are as a research intensive campus. There are some challenges there with our endowment and the amount of money that we would have to need to improve those. But that is something that we've been having some preliminary discussions on it. But it's tougher than just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do to fix that. We're also concerned about making sure that our graduate programs continue to remain strong, particularly around the international students and how we continue to recruit students. Our graduate population has decreased somewhat, but Charlie, you can add on that one. He speaks on that one. That's okay. Sure.
Hi, sorry, I had to finish typing. My name is Adriana Roz, and my question for you, it's a little on the lighter side, so that way we can spruce up the room a little bit. But what's your favorite memory from being at NC State?
Whoa. I've got so many. That's a hard one. My favorite memory thus far, it keeps growing. Let me tell you what I do love about this university. Two things. One thing, let's go one. I would say being around students. It reminds me that when I left Shelby, I was a little bit, believe it or not, I was a little bit shy. Didn't know how my life was going to turn out. But every time I'm walking on campus and I see one of you, or Tally, or just last week, I see hope. I see a better future, and I feel great. I had a student to stop me on campus to say, hey, what do you, I'm taking these courses. They're pretty difficult. Can you just talk to me? Now I have to make sure I'm not giving you counsel to go do it. But here are some suggestions that I would recommend. We exist because of you. When I was in school, people used to say, let's look to your left, look to your right. One of you won't be here, next year. I thought Chancellor Woodson did an excellent job in changing that, and other chancellors before him. No, if you got accepted to this university, we want to see all of you graduate. And if that means encouraging you along the way, we all get to the point. This is a tough day today, and if I see you across campus, where's the smile? Let's do it. Let's go. But so many memories. I love saying light it red on the bell tower, which means we won again. So I like to win. I also love saying the band. Love saying this guy. And if you haven't experienced that, the band playing, whether it's in Reynolds or in Tally or on the football field, it's exciting. But also going to class. I love popping into class. Professors told me I can't do that anymore because then I make everybody nervous. I was like, I just want to come. I don't want to be there. I just want to come. and I'll see how hard you guys are working. I can say going through the library, and while going through the library, you guys are intense. You're on it. You're giving it everything that you have. But I have many. I don't. To answer your question, there's not one favorite, but it's all of them together. It's moments like this. This is the first time I'm addressing as chancellor, student government. I'm excited. You know, that's a new experience. So everything I do on this campus this year, okay, she's writing again. That means okay. Thank you. All right.
Hi,
I'll be quick, I'm sorry.
My name's Judson Avery. Thank you so much for coming out. I wanted to ask, what is the achievement from your time in student government that you're most proud of?
These most are tough right here. I'll just put it simple, working with the administration. I mean, there was a number of issues that came forth, but sitting down with Bruce Bolton and the team at the time, I think going back to your question that you asked me, I didn't know that was preparing me. There was one simple thing that I had to work with. We're getting ready to play Kansas. It was around this time many, many years ago. And whose seats did they belong to in Reynolds? There were a number of just incidents that happened. But there's nothing greater than representing this university and talking with students and helping them resolve. I mean, when you really look at it, you're really, I don't know if I can say this, but I'll say it. We got a soon to be couple of lawyers in here. You're really acting as the voice of the student. So you're the voice of those who are not sitting here today to help them. And that's something that I really appreciated in working with the chancellor at the time.
My goodness, sorry. Hello, Chancellor Howell. My name is Davis Hollister, and I am a part of the marching band. So we love how much you support us. Our band director raves about you, just how much you put into the band and how passionate you are about us. So thank you. My question for you is talking about academics first. Has there been any discussion about creating maybe a universal grading system or universal grading book where students can view all of their GPAs and their semester grades? A lot of professors do not use one cohesive system where students can see their grades, and I'm wondering if that's something on the docket.
That's one I have not heard this year yet, but look forward to talking to you about that a little bit later on it now. Universal grading. Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right. I will say we are out of our time for 10 minutes. Does anyone want to extend? All right, can I send a roll?
I motion to extend the period of questioning for 15 minutes.
Okay, that was a motion to extend the period of questions by 15 minutes. A second from Senator Scott. All those in favor by extending for 15 minutes. Wait, Chancellor Howell, I know you have to leave right after. Is this enough
That's
fine
fine.
time? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, it'll be extended by 15 minutes. We'll start with the next questioner.
Hi, Chancellor Howell. Right here. My name is Ava Butler. I'm also a political science alum of NC State and a current graduate student here. My question for you is I wanted to ask you how you did as student body president work to engage with the student body and make student government accessible and active and approachable.
I'll probably, I'm not going to compare myself to the current student body president, but I will say just similar to what Isaac is doing, be visible. Make sure that people know your name and that you're approachable. I think someone said that earlier tonight. If you're in Tolly or, on the first floor, if you're walking across campus, students want to talk to other students about different issues, just like with our team, our cabinet, and mainly just being visible and making sure that people know that you're a voice for them. And but I'm having to think a little bit deeper because it's been a number of years been student body president. But I know great presidents when I see it and great leaders, and that's what I mean. I can't remember all the details, but I just know that when Student Body President Carreño is presenting to the Board of Trustees. His thoughts are well thought. I think you're presenting in a couple of weeks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that's key. And when you have elected officials, make sure that something that's simple as listening to what other people. You're not going to always agree with every single issue that someone says. You don't, not with your brother, not with your sister, not with your parent. But the important things is that you establish that dialogue, that you learn how to listen and to talk with each other and not ready to respond right when someone's getting ready. And that's a skill set that I'm using now. Some of you saw the cover of the alumni magazine, and the point behind that is I'm here to listen to your concerns, to your needs, and see, okay, how do we get better? You know, as great as we are, we were great enough to attract you to NC State University. We were your dream school. You know, when you think about it, hey, the school that I really wanted to get into at the time, we said, all of you said, it's NC State. Or perhaps some of you say, well, I didn't get into this other one, but I'm just coming to NC State. But regardless of the matter, now we all have this shared responsibility. That responsibility is how do we make it better, not for ourselves, but for that next generation of leaders. If we make it better, if these experiences that you're having, if student government continues to, be as successful as it is now, then we're going to attract what? Other leaders to want to be involved in that group. And so I think being available, number one, to all students was, not just one group, but making sure that all students' voices are heard. Same thing that I'm trying to do as chancellor, but not only just all students, but all constituents from the east, the west, the mountains, north and south, that we all have different from the world. And okay, one down, let's see. You keep adding when I finish, right? I'm trying to be quicker. Okay, I'm gonna go quick on the next one. Okay.
Hi, my name's Zainab Aleem. I was just wondering if you have any, advice you could give to all of us senators when it comes to, the challenges that it comes with being a student leaders, backlash or just time management and things like that.
That's a good one. I would say time management is number one. And I started out talking about what's important. Student government is very important. But if you know you have a test tomorrow, okay. She asked a question. I just got to be honest. If you know you've got a test coming up and you know you need to put a little bit more time in it, what I would advise you, sorry, Madam President and Mr. President, I would advise you to go study. Unless you know that you already have it. And I'm going to always side with that because, academics is not important. What you're doing here and what you're learning is great. Number one organization I would say to get involved with at NC State, student government. But while I'm saying that, your academics. You know what your grades are in the classroom. You know that test coming up. You know how much time it takes for you to prepare for it. I'm going to always side with that because that's what my father was proud of me, being student body president. And this week I got I've got an email from a student that my father taught while she was in high school. She's a teacher now. And she sent me an email and she said, hey, I had your father for my class, but your dad always used to talk about you and how proud he was of you being student body president. Don't know what I learned in class, but he always talked about you. And some of you know that my father has gone to be with the Lord, and he was my bestest friend. Oh, my best friend. I was going to but and my mentor. And so when you asked me that question, Senator, I had to reflect on the same counsel and advice that my father gave me. Yes, he was proud. Yes, your parents are proud, but they also sent you down here for a reason, and that's to accomplish what you started out in the many sacrifices that families all across our state are having to make just so you can have this opportunity. Why this opportunity? Why education? And many of you have heard me talk about this. Higher education matters. It matters that you're here. This is not high school. This is the place that you establish yourself and you've been taught by some of the smartest people in the world. And they're spending time with you. And it's for us as a university, it's a shared responsibility. It's for you to challenge those professors. Tell me, when you spoke about this, what did it really mean? What were you really, why? Talk to your professors. I would advise anyone. Why did you study this? Hey, I didn't get this particular example you used today in class. But make no mistake about it, I will always side with academics. And I will always side with getting the best that you can do here, because most of you, how you got here, that's what you've done all of your life. And so the competition is a lot stiffer here. But I would ask you to think about the dreams that you had for yourself and the dreams that your family have for you. Okay. Okay.
I guess the next question is mine. Now, I heard this was top secret information, so I don't know if you can talk about it. But can you
Top
give us
secret.
any hint about what your Howlin' Cow ice cream flavor will be?
Top secret information, Charlie. I'm still working on it. You know, it's gotten a little bit complicated. And
Give us an ingredient.
I heard it was pretzels from Yik Yak.
who you been talking?
Yik Yak. That's
No comment. But I need to see who the student senate president's been talking. We got a leak out there somewhere. I'm still working on it. No, but let me brag on the College of Ag and Life Sciences. You know, I think the one thing that we can say about NC State is the ice cream is more than one thing, but the ice cream is stellar. And this ice cream that we're going to come up with, I want to come back to student government, and we're going to, and want us to, maybe before the meeting, I can't be here after the meeting, but I want to bring the ice cream back to let everybody taste. But I think we had to order a few more things in order to get this ice cream here, but it's going to be good. So, good question, though.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Victoria. One question I have for you is, what one skill would you say is most important for us to take away in these 4 years as we go into our careers?
Most important one for me is to listen. I can go on a couple more, but I'm going to stay there. Listen. It was something that Governor Hunt shared with me when I had the pleasure of working for him. He said, I want you to listen to what people are really saying. And I think sometimes we spend a lot more time talking or ready to respond to an answer. But I think by listening and not being in a hurry to respond.
Good afternoon, Chancellor. My name is Jordan Reed. I am a Spring 25 initiate of the Oh So Fly chapter, Oh So Fly Musi chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
See your sister behind you.
Yes, this is my line sister. We were curious to know what your line was like and also what your number was
Okay.
in your collective.
Ooh, let's see if I can remember. 4 of us on mine. I was number 2. And this day, I was very proud to have all of my line brothers and fraternity brothers in town last week. And we still keep in touch. And, that's what I was trying to express earlier. the friendships, the people that you meet here, in high school sometime, many of you, well, not yet, but some of us in high school, you grow up together and go through school together, and some of the folks you keep in touch with. I think college and fraternities and sororities and student government folks, I still talk with people that I was in student government with. The amazing thing is we played Campbell University in football, and someone that lived in my residence hall, Bagwell, he's now the president of Campbell University. And we remembered each other. And so that's what I mean about this university that's different. The people that you're meeting with, there's a purpose behind each of them. And you think that you in this, and that's why, you heard me earlier talk about just how to listen to other people, how to respond to questions, how to respond to issues. We all get upset. But there's somebody in this room, they're going to remember what you said 30 years ago. Or they're going to find someone. Do you know Senator so-and-so? Y'all were in student government. Well, I remember the time he spoke on a bill. Notice I said he. He spoke on a bill, and buddy, he lost his cool. We didn't know what happened to him. How's he doing now? Well, I don't know. I wanted to hire him and all. Do you think he'll be a good person? So what I'm saying is, just remember this. Everything that we do, and I know I'm a public figure now, but I just want you to know that everything you do, somebody's going to remember. So why don't you give them something good to remember you by? Debate the bill. Disagree with the bill. But do it in a unique kind of style where you don't have to offend anyone. You don't have to go after someone's character. And you remain the better person by how you debate. And so, okay, let's keep it moving. I'm down to Charles, you can be here all night. I want to make sure you guys ask these folks the same number of questions. Okay, who we got?
Thank you for coming and speaking with us this
Sure.
afternoon. It's been a pleasure having you for the time we have. There's a lot of us first years this year, and I know that a lot of us are nervous, our first year in student government, kind of getting our footing in college. What do you want to see from us first years who are new to NC State, just as new as you are in your current role? Is there anything specific that you'd like to see when we graduate in 4 years?
Well, I'm honored about this year's class because I get to sign the degrees. And so this will, in 4 years, you'll be the first students that came in as freshmen with me and to graduate from the university. I would say have fun, enjoy this moment. And one of the things I often tell students as well as just my friends, imagine that each of you, this is your movie. This is your movie. By the time you left your home, by the time you got, here's my residence assignment, this is where I'm going to be living on campus. So everything you've done as a freshman, first time you've walked to your classes, and now you don't have to use your cell phones to tell you which way to go to get to which building on campus, but it's your movie. The problem sometimes we don't realize that our life is our movie. And how do you want your movie? There's different parts of your movie. There's the first day of classes. There are times when I miss my mom, I miss my dog, I miss my pet, I miss my dad. Should have started with dad. Everybody starts with mom. But enjoy the time. Secondly, I would say get to know other people. I know we sit in certain seats, but every now and then there's somebody in this corner over here that you never had an opportunity to speak with. There's someone in another college. Hey, I want to talk with you today. I've been listening to you debate, and I just want to introduce myself to you. And I would say number 3, we're all are competitive. I want to encourage you to be competitive, just like we did in basketball on Monday night. That was fun. Just like we did on Saturday night in football. That was fun. But give it everything you have. But never think too highly of yourself. And what I've tried to say to this campus and this community is it's not about one person. It's about a community. It's about all of us working together as one pack. And the reason behind that is we can do a lot together. One person can't ever. I depend on my team. I depend on a cabinet of leaders, and then I hold them responsible for it. You know, whether it's the provost, whether it's the CFO, whether it's development, whether it's external, we depend on folks. And they're some of the best people I've ever had the privilege of working with. And so laugh a little bit more, enjoy the moment, meet new people, and get to know your faculty members a lot better. You know, you think, okay, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna take this class, give me the syllabus, okay, where's the test? Okay, we got this. No, change it up. Talk with them a little bit more. Ask them, hey, how did you get interested in this? I want an A in this class. You gonna help me? So,
All right, we are out of time.
okay.
All right. With that,
May I
we'll,
close?
we'll thank our.
May I-
Yeah,
may I
close,
close?
of course.
Listen, I know tonight's been a long night for me, a long day, but I am grateful to all of you for being student leaders of NC State student government. And everyone in this group, I do see great things happening for you. To the freshmen, how many freshmen do we have here in the, oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's impressive. You got this. You get your grades coming up. Now, see, if I can go back to one point, you got exams. Make sure you take care of first things, business first, and make sure you take care of that first. But I'm honored to be your chancellor. I'm honored to be here. I look forward to the partnership that we will continue to have. And I'm grateful for these outstanding leaders up front, and in particular, the student body president and student senate president, but all of the leaders. Thank you very much. And I love saying, go Wolfpack. And since I'm leaving, a moment of personal privilege, if I may. This is my first, I said, sorry, Charlie. This is my first meeting with student government. I would love to have a picture with all of you. And I don't know if I'm out of line, Madam
No, I think that's
President.
fine.
And I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Yes, what we'll do, everyone stand. We'll make this fast too. Everyone stand, don't move. We're just going to condense here.
All right, let's get some more people filing to the front. I'm not going to be able to see any of y'all back there, so front and sides. Calling this in the bin. And then just on this side, just a little bit. Thank you so much. All right, 3, 2, 1. Amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You gotta ask Isaac to show you the ESPN clip. You got a little clip.
All right, everyone, please take your seats, and we're going to move swiftly to our next presentation from Executive Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration, Charles Mamoni.
Thank you very much, President Den, Senate leadership, senators, thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate it very much, and I'm happy to share what I can about the university's budget. Probably the biggest challenge we have is that we don't have a budget. That was a joke. We do have a budget, but this may be one of the most challenging situations I think the university has faced in quite some time, because there's a lot of there's a lot of information about the federal government and the way in which we are funded there, and the state government and the way we are funded there, that really is still very uncertain for us, even though we are in November when the fiscal year starts in July 1. So let me go to the agenda next, and I'm assuming that someone can help me with that. Oh, perfect. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is really provide a little bit of information about my direct responsibilities. Then we'll talk about budget. I do want to separate it out from federal and state and share a little bit about what's happening in the UNC system. I want to move through these fast. I know you have them. You can ask any questions that you want on any of these slides, of course. But I just want to really give you some emphasis on some of the areas that try to frame, what we as an institution are dealing with. So if we move to the next slide, you'll see these are my divisions within my areas of responsibility. And basically I've providing you with some functional responsibilities with each one of these divisions. So as you go through your work, if there are areas that you need, or you have questions, or if you need assistance, you can always reach out to these associate vice chancellors or myself, and their websites are also tied there. But this gives you some kind of framing for what I am directly responsible for on the campus. So that may come in handy at some point. But again, any questions that you have as we move through the year, you're welcome to use that information to move along. Let's go to the budget then. Very quickly, our university-wide budget is about $2.46 billion in revenue. You can see the revenue sources right there. And let me just point out, I think very quickly, the state appropriations in blue, the tuition and fees in orange. Those two, I'm gonna, when I switch the slide to the next slide, those are gonna be referred to as the general fund. All right, so just remember that piece. But this gives you kind of the areas of revenue and then how we spend those money on the expenditure side. And again, any questions that you have about these categories, I'm happy to go through that with you. The next slide will show you the general fund, which is that the state appropriations and the tuition and fees that the tuition and fees you pay, and the state appropriations that the state assigns to NC State. This is how we use those funds. These are primarily used as for the academic enterprise and to support academic support services and administrative services on the campus. Okay, and then the last slide in terms of budget was just the student fee information. I thought you might find that helpful, just to see these are primarily mandatory fees, even though transportation is not considered a mandatory fee by the state system. It is here at NC State. And so it's added to that pie chart, but that should give you some information about our funding sources. Again, any questions that you have about these, I'm glad to discuss. So if we move on, let's talk about the federal budget, and we can go to the next slide right away. And I think the important thing here is that this just isn't about a federal shutdown, which is the first thing on my list, because it is the most important and most immediate thing we're dealing with right now. During a federal shutdown, we have approximately $600 million in research expenditures on an annual basis, about $25 million a year, a month that we spend on research. When there's a federal shutdown, that we don't get reimbursed. So we as an institution have to figure out how to continue the research enterprise during the shutdown. And we didn't expect, who knows really, but we didn't expect the shutdown to last as long as it has. but I couldn't tell you when it's going to end either, right? So we're planning and working to ensure that that our faculty, our graduate students, and our researchers are all continuing their work to the best of their ability. This Monday, though, we did ask them to control some of their spending around supplies, materials, equipment during the second month of the shutdown, because we really do have to slow down the amount of money that we're spending on research, trying to ensure that we can maintain all of our faculty and staff who work in research for as long as we possibly can without that revenue source. But please take a look at some of the other things that have an effect on the institution. And these are all things that have a direct effect on the institution. There's a lot of news, and I'm sure you're following a lot of news about executive orders and other things that you may or may not think directly affect the institution, but they end up doing. For example, tariffs. You know, tariffs may have an impact on supply chain. It may have an impact on costs. We're in the middle of building a building, and so if the cost of steel changes, that changes the dynamics of that building. All of those things have to be taken into consideration, and of course we have to do that as we move along. I think the other thing, the next slide will give you just like a real quick example of how maybe an external force like an executive order that limits visas into the country, for example, might have a chilling effect on, for example, international graduate students. And if you'll just take a look at the way in which our tuition dollars, and these are our total tuition dollars, are separated from last year, you'll see that non-resident tuition has declined from one year to the next. Now we're able to make that up with in-state tuition, but a change like this in any given year is not something that we would have planned or predicted. Those external forces are really starting to at least reveal themselves to some extent in the budget and the university's profile. So we watch very carefully. We want to make sure these things continue to be on our radar, but it's simply just an example of that, you know, that force that may not have been something we had planned, but is actually happening to us. Okay, the next slide is just a trend slide. We keep track of the dollars that are awarded to the institution in the research environment. And the red dots, the 4 red dots that you see is the current year. And you'll see how it's starting to trend below FY24 and 25. And so we are starting to see an impact on the amount of research dollars that are being brought to the institution. Now, what we did at the beginning of this year is, and again, without much information, we started to predict that last month in September, you can see it was between 24 and 25. But we thought, okay, well, let's at least adjust our budget down to what it was in FY24 as a starting place for FY26. I hope I'm not making this more complicated than I need to. Just to say, it doesn't appear as though we're going to be able to generate the same level of activity on the research side as we did before. So starting to adjust those budget down to protect that. We'll continue to monitor that. We'll see what that trend does to the institution, and we'll continue to adjust if necessary. Okay, the next slide, we'll move to the state budget. And the next slide is, if you don't know, I think one of the reasons why there is still, I think, discussion over the FY26 budget is because the legislators are really, you know, working to try to figure out how to address reduced revenues in the upcoming years if they put into place reductions in both the individual taxes and corporate taxes, which is a plan that they have in terms of state reductions in revenue. And these reductions are proposed, and the pro forma here is actually done by the Office of State Budget Management. So these are their projections on new revenues. So as you can see, there's going to be revenue stress for the state of North Carolina this prediction actually includes growth. So what they're saying is that out in that 2032, 33 area, you're talking about $6 billion or so less in revenue than we currently have. So this trend is something that we're going to have to pay attention to, I think, for a while, and certainly will affect, I think, decisions that the legislators make. Okay. Now, this is way too busy. I'm not even going to try, but you can spend a little bit of time with me. And this is important because what we've done is in all of the budget proposals from the House and the Senate, we've taken out everything that has anything to do with NC State and listed it on this dashboard. It's a dashboard that we keep. There's a number of assumptions. You can read them all on the right side. And in some cases, it's like, well, this is our best guess at this point in terms of how this will be determined. But nonetheless, we start to quantify what's in the Senate budget, what's in the House budget, and then anything that changed. For example, there was a mini bill. In that mini bill, there were 2 items that were actually addressed. And so they're very minor items and really are not substantial or material in any way for the institution. However, as we move through this and if we get a budget this year, then we'll continue to update this. You can take a look at that, and I do extend an invitation to you if you'd like. As you think about this, you're welcome to contact me and ask any detailed questions you want about any of these areas, and happy to talk to you about that. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. This is taking all of that information, and it says, okay, what happens if all of these things happen to us? You can see the potential is about $19 million in state appropriations. And the possible reductions are approximately $33 million. And then, of course, if we got some combination of those, I've just done the math for you on that difference. And I've taken out salary increases because salaries are important, obviously. Salary increases are important, and you can see how significant they are, but they're really pass-throughs. They don't change our operating budget. They just move from legislators through the institution, out through payroll to individual employees, including graduate students and faculty and staff. But the point here is that that's not money that's going to change the way the university operates or manages its expenditures. Okay. And then this is just a capital reflection of the budget. All of the items, all the building construction items that are in black ink, those are actually budgeted. And then over on the right side, you'll see on the last column, you'll see whether or not we got any money for them. And if we don't have money, for example, the large animal hospital, not funded yet. The engineering classroom building, $200 million for that hasn't been funded yet. So we know that they're in the budget, but we haven't seen any new dollars for them. So that'll slow down those projects, for example. The 2 in the red are items that have been proposed, but not codified in law. They were just legislators or the House or the Senate who said, we would like to propose this as a budget increase on the capital side for NC State. But neither one of those have materialized in budget yet. Okay. All right. And then quickly, the DAVE Act. So while we are dealing with some uncertainty around the state budget, one thing that was passed in the mini bill was it codified the DAVE Act, which is actually the Division of Accountability, Value, and Efficiencies. It's a new division within the state. The legislators provided $6 million in funding and I think 45 positions to the state auditor. And that new division is actually charged with providing a report to the General Assembly by the end of December on possible efficiencies that could be gained within the entire state system, not just in universities, but across all agencies. And they empowered them to make recommendations about reductions in divisions, total agencies, departments within agencies or offices within agencies. Okay. And it also asked for an evaluation of all of the vacant positions across the entire state of North Carolina, state positions, and asked them to analyze those positions to determine whether all of those positions were still needed. The reason I raise this is because while we have the state and federal budget, we do have the DAVE Act that we don't have any certainty on how that might actually move.
Okay, is a motion from Chair Francis.
A motion to extend this time for 2 minutes.
Is 2 minutes enough for you?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. And the second from Senator Dixon. All those in favor of extending the time by 2 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it and be extended by 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'll try to move. I mean, really, I'm done. Actually, I do want to share just a little bit about the system directives. There are a number of things the university is dealing with right now as it relates to administrative positions and total salaries, and there's some limitations and constraints that the system office have placed on the institution. Also, it has asked us to slow down hiring new faculty and staff, as well as review all of our contracts. And these are just really kind of austerity issues, trying to really help the institutions to, to look carefully in anticipation of reductions that might take place. So with that, I will stop and open for questions.
Are there any questions? And we'll do the same format as last time. I'll start with Board of Election Chair Adenucci.
Thank you for your presentation. Just curious in regards to the research funding, is the university going to be reimbursed for money not received, similar to like how federal employees get back pay?
Right. So in every other federal shutdown, we have been reimbursed for expenditures that took place during the shutdown. It's still a risk that we're ready and willing to take up to a point. But that's one of the reasons we started to ask for some consideration from researchers to slow down purchases during the month, because we don't have certainty that it will be, but we do believe, I should put it this way, we have no reason to believe that we won't be reimbursed. How's that?
Hello. Sorry, right over here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask how the university is working to retain graduate student talent with federal funding freezes, and how that impacts graduate students' progression of their research and also progression of their degree.
Very good question. And I'll also try to answer, I think it was Senator Dale's question relative to how we're trying to promote that. So the prioritization for our strategy during the shutdown is to preserve employment opportunities. So TAs and RAs, all of that is part of that. So when we spend about $25 million a month in research expenditures. Half of that is employment. And so that we're trying to preserve and extend as long as we possibly can during that shutdown. We also recognize, I think maybe, did I answer your question? Right. And we'll do that for as long as we can. And we're month to month. So the information that we sent out to researchers at the beginning of this month is really meant to get us through the end of November. If we had to make additional restrictions, we would do that in December. And hopefully the shutdown won't last that long, but we'll prepare for it. But as well as that, I think graduate student TA and RA stipends has been and will continue to be a priority for the institution. Over the last couple of years, we've budgeted those so that every college that has them has to at least meet a minimum standard amount for both the graduate and the doctoral students. And our effort is to try to move that up as we move through budget years. This has been a challenging situation because we haven't gotten any increases in budget. We haven't gotten any new revenue. So we're not in a position to actually do anything. And I will say, if you look carefully at that, the dashboard, one of the two things that the state legislators did do was they did make a reduction of $1 million in state appropriations for graduate student stipends. And so out of a $14 million budget, they actually did cut us by $1 million. And so we're really trying to work to recover and to ensure that we have what we know is happening. And then to Senator Dale's question, one more thing I want to place in your thinking, which is the number of graduate students has grown significantly over time. And that's a huge pressure on the amount that we can provide to stipends. It's just a race, and it's really one that we're always going to have to try to figure out how to do. And I'll end that with, we want to be competitive, and we want our graduate students to, to come to NC State. And so we're really driven to try to get that stipend up as quickly as we can.
I think that's me, right? Hi, I'm over here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This is maybe like kind of a weird question. I just maybe wanted some clarification on like the budget summary, that like mega table. I think it's slide 13. This is a really stupid question. I'm sorry. Under like athletic support, what does that mean when it's from sports wagering receipts? So $24.4 million but this is from the Senate? I'm just very confused. If you could explain that to me.
I will. So you all know that collegiate athletics has changed dramatically over the last couple of years. I mean, hands down, there's revenue sharing, there's NIL deals, and it really has changed the university's responsibilities to budget. For NC State, revenue share equals about $20 million in budgeted revenue. And so recognizing that, the legislators actually said, look, we have this sports betting revenue that's produced for the state, and every other institution in the system except for NC State and Chapel Hill have received proceeds from that sports betting revenue. And this year, recognizing the big changes, especially for the larger institutions, they're really showing some support to accommodate some of the new challenges around athletic budgets, very specifically by allocating some of that sports betting revenue to NC State and Chapel Hill. I very much hope that happens. It's a very important request that we have, but it has not passed yet this year. So it's going to be a challenge.
Hi, Dr. Mamoni, right here. Thank you for coming out today and talking with us.
Sure.
I had a question about the education technology fee.
Yes.
So I was curious if you could talk a little bit more about the process. I know it's about $16 million in revenue, and it gets allocated out by the provost office to colleges. Could you talk a little bit more about the process over at the provost office for allocating that money?
Not as much as you might think. I really don't know the details, other than that there's a committee that's convened, and that there's a proportion that's sent out to each one of the colleges, and how that proportion is derived, I'm not quite sure. But they do preserve a section of that for larger activities within the colleges as well. So it really is driven by a committee, and that's as much as I can probably tell you right now. Yeah.
Hi, Vice Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify something. So when hopefully the shutdown ends and then funding resumes, is there any sort of lag in how long it takes to get the funding started up again? Or is it something that's instant? Do you expect any like ripple effects, in the next couple months because of the long lapse in funding?
Yeah, there's a lag. There is already a lag, right? We get reimbursed for expenditures that we've already, realized. And so once we get the receipts, basically, we submit them to the federal government, and they turn around and get back. So it's probably a month from the time we submit receipts. But that lag we understand and we work with. It's compounded by the shutdown, because for the period of time when they're shut down, they're not working. So when they come back in this case, at least a month, if not longer, all of those receipts will be pushed through. And then it will take some time for them to actually process. Some of the portals are open, so we're able to submit. There's no activity back to us. So we're trying to keep up with it as best we can, but it will lag. So it becomes a cash flow issue, which is, I think, what you're saying. And I think we have a way to manage that cash flow as long as it doesn't last too long.
All right, our next question from our guest in the crowd.
Hi, my name is Sophia Mejia. I'm a senior studying genetics here with minor in business administration, and I'm the president of Women in Business. And my question for you is, we are currently seeking funding for our Women's History Month event in March from the Full College of Management. However, we've been told that due to not having a state budget, that they cannot allocate us funding at this time. And so I was just wanted to kind of ask you kind of like what the process would be for getting, those funds through the college and into kind of like student hands to put on events, and kind of like what the process would be for that if you had some insight.
I do know that there's a tremendous amount of pressure on each one of the colleges because they're in the same situation the university is. We really can't predict the outcome of the budget year. We do expect there to be cuts, and so I'm sure they're being conservative. I'm not sure that I have a methodology for bypassing the dean with their resources. We allocate to each one of the deans, actually to all the major units on campus. We allocate a budget, and then we expect them to adhere to that budget. So there's some discretion there in terms of how they can handle that. So I'm not sure that I really have an answer for you in terms of how I could release those funds.
That's okay. We were just told that there isn't a budget, and so that we were waiting for you all to make a decision to get them budget. So
Oh, okay. Well, I do want to clarify that because the state of North Carolina has a continuation budget strategy, which means last year's budget was continued on to this year, right? So we do have a budget. We just don't have a new budget. We don't have a budget that reflects any of those changes yet. Some of those changes are cuts. And so we anticipate those cuts. And I think that might be what the dean and his team are talking to you about, which is we're not certain of what our budget situation will be. It's not that we don't have a budget, but we don't know that our budget will be cut or not, and it probably will be.
okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So my question to you is on one of your slides, kind of like we were talking about the federal government shutdown and like kind of all your bullet points listed out. One of the things you mentioned on there was the wind down and the dismantlement of the Department of Education.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, what will be, I guess, the negative impacts that y'all may see, but also what are the potential benefits to the Department of Education being shut down? Are we going to have, as an institution, as a state, more control over certain things? If you can provide any insight on that.
Well, I think now there are probably impacts to the education that are outside of the financial impacts that are there. So there are others on the campus who might help with some parts of your answer. But the winding down of the Department of Education from a budget perspective is that they actually do a fair amount of allocations of different funds and resources that the institution depends on. And so that's for us, the wind down would be either those are moved to some other agency or they disappear completely. And so what we're trying to do is to figure out which ones are moving and which ones are disappearing and how might that affect us from a budget perspective. But there are other impacts as well that I may not be able to speak to really.
All right, the 10-minute period of questions has ended. Our next motion from Senator Rolfe.
I move to extend the period of questioning by 10 minutes.
All right, there's been a motion to extend the period of question by 10 minutes, a second from Senator Avery. All those in favor of extending the period of questions by 10 minutes, please say aye. Does it work with your schedule?
Of course.
Okay, sorry. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it. It'll be extended by 10 minutes. And we'll start with the next question. Oh, Ellen.
Hi. I'm not sure if like you can answer this question, but is there anything you guys could do given like the SNAP benefits being, I guess, delayed?
Yeah, Yeah, that's a good question, and I think we're already starting to see some of the ramifications for that. I know my colleague here may have more information. Dr. McGallagher may be able to speak a little bit to that, so I'll defer a portion of that. But I know that there's an effort to try to get more food into the food pantry and try to help from, you know, the points of access that we have and are available to us. We can try it. But SNAP more broadly, there's nothing that the institute, there's no connection to the institution's resources for SNAP.
Hi. So my question is, like, in a worst case scenario, let's say the government doesn't come up with a compromise by the time they recede for winter break. What is it like? What is the potential that labs are going to start having to like lay off, say, graduate students or our staff at that point? So let's say like they don't meet that November deadline because they take December off. They don't really get started back to January. At what point do labs need to start concerning about like not just I can't buy materials, but I need to start like thinking of what graduate students or our staff I have that I might not be able to support anymore?
Yeah, you've raised the question that we're going to have to answer. And that answer will be, we will do as much as we can for as long as we can. I will tell you the conversations that the chancellor and and the provost and I have had is that we will work to ensure that graduate students, for example, don't get cut off in the middle of a semester or even a year. That if we've made a commitment to a graduate student, we're going to try to extend that out at least through the year, right? There's probably 6 or 7 different types of employees that work in research technicians, there are temporary employees, so forth and so on. There are student employees, for example, who are not TAs or even graduate assistants in the research enterprise. So we're going to have to prioritize those if in fact, but I don't think, I think we're going to be able to get through December without any concerns. But January, it starts to get a little bit more serious because our cash flow starts to be limited there.
All right. If this is acceptable, I would like to talk maybe about the prices that we see in campus stores. Will that be something we could talk about?
Sure, of course.
Awesome. Students recently have brought a concern to us that prices in campus markets have been rising, especially this year. They've seen them go up a few dollars, especially around ice cream or something like that. And we've just done a little bit of research, and I'm not sure if you ever had one of these. This is a Olipop. And just a few days ago, I went to Sam's Club and bought them for a unit price of about 83 cents. And downstairs, I could buy them for $4 a can. And it seems that's a 4.8%. Sorry, not 4.8, but 4.8 times the price per unit. I was just wondering what exactly, how do we structure, what structure do we have to determine the prices between what y'all buy these items for versus what we sell them to students?
Yeah. So what's maybe missing in that is what we buy them for. So, but let me stop there because I actually had this conversation yesterday with the Associate Vice Chancellor for Campus Enterprises, who brought to my attention, I think, a resolution that you all have passed. And so I read that yesterday for the first time, and we had that conversation. And I think there is actually room for us to do an analysis on how we mark up products. But to be fair, when you're dealing with a convenience store in a limited population like we have, and I know this may be more than you want to know, but when you get those things delivered to you, you don't get them delivered to you at the same price that a Sam's Club or a Target's or a Walmart gets. That their discounts are heavy and their turn is so much higher, right? So convenience store items are more expensive. And I think the right comparison, and the one that I've talked to Rich about making, is, well, what are these prices relative to other convenience stores, not boxes like Target? And so that analysis is underway right now. And I think the other thing that we talked about, which I do think we should, in some cases, the prices do need to fall, because what we've done is we've used a methodology that marks up by percentage. And one of the things that has really been happening in the food industry in the last year, year and a half, is there are certain products that have just escalated in price, and so they're a lot more expensive to buy than they were 2 years ago or a year ago. And our methodology was still to use a percentage increase. And so they need to go through the store and really start, segmenting these products by what I'll call true convenience. And then those things that I think are more staple oriented for our students, like milk, bread, so forth and so on. And because our meal plan is it really should be comprehensive. So a student should be able to go to the dining facility. They should also be able to go to the convenience store and buy a loaf of bread or some milk. If they want to buy, and I'm not sure what that can was because I've never had it before, I don't know what it is. But if they want to buy that convenience might be more expensive because it costs us more to get, but it doesn't have to be marked up by percentage because those prices might be higher. So that analysis is underway right now. And I would say thank you to you all for bringing that up. I will say that, and I'll be very quick. I think we started to see this in the newest convenience store that we have out at Centennial Campus. And it was really when we lifted that store up, we started to see some of these percentage markups being kind of out of line. So we are going to work on that.
It also seems, well, I know we have a partnership with Coca-Cola. It seems we sell that at retail price. So why couldn't we also try to do that other partnerships with these major brands that we sell here on campus to help bring that price down? Maybe behind the scenes, you'd buy it a lot cheaper than what we could buy at wholesale. And then we could market that a lot closer towards that retail price.
Sure. I think what we do, and we do negotiate contracts as much as we possibly can. We absolutely do that. Yeah.
All right. Are there any other questions? If not, we'll thank Vice Chancellor Mamoni for coming. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. And next, we'll welcome up to the podium Dr. McGalliard. And you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Okay. Anybody need a stretch break? That's the longest I've sat since this afternoon's meeting. So thank you so much for inviting me to be here tonight. And especially thanks to Senate President and especially because when we did this, we had a retreat, was it 2 weekends ago? There was an SG retreat. And I was on a very small panel and super casual conversation, but it was really good because it gave me an opportunity to spend some kind of more one-on-one time with many of the student government folks. So I really appreciated that conversation and especially the invitation for tonight. So I'm going to talk tonight about, we can slide to the next. Perfect. Talk tonight just a little bit about my role because it has changed over the last couple of years. And I want to make sure that you all not only know that, but can share that information. And then I was asked to talk about advocacy on campus and how you all can engage with administration and others regarding issues and ideas and things that you all have. So we'll talk a little bit about that and then really kind of why this is important. And I'm kind of glad that the order of presenters was changed tonight because Chancellor Howell teed up my conversation really, really nicely. And so I'm appreciative of that. So let me tell you a little bit about me. So I am an alum of NC State and I love this place. I mean, probably as much as you do, and hopefully you'll love it even more the longer you're here. I want to say that Senator Hubbard's dad was Senator Hubbard, Senator, oh good gosh, Stacks' dad was my student government president when I was here. And so it's kind of a surreal moment for me to be back here and be in this space and of course be in the space with someone who was here during my time too. So I have been back on campus, not as a student, but as an administrator for 6 years. And that still feels like I'm like on a program review. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically you kind of get hired to go see what other things are going on at other institutions and how they can improve. And that's kind of how I feel. I've got some folks in the back going, yeah, probably. And so it's been really, really great to be back. And I came back as the executive director for university housing 6 years ago. And since then, I have taken on a couple of different roles. And I put an org chart in my presentation just so you could understand kind of one side of the org chart for academic and student affairs. So NC State has a pretty unique structure where we have academic affairs and student affairs groups in one division. So Charlie Mamoni talked about his division, which is finance and administration, and he talked about all of the different areas. I think there were 6 or 7 areas that report to him. This is the right side of the org chart, which is the student affairs side of the org chart for Dr. Scott. I tried to highlight, it might not be because it's kind of tiny, tried to highlight the areas of responsibility for me. So, oh, look at there, technology. So I am the Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs and Associate Dean. And that Associate Dean title really just came on in the last year and a half, because you all might remember, for those of you who have been around longer than our first year students, we had a student mental health task force a few years ago. And there were a number of recommendations that came out of that task force report. One of those being that NC State is one of the only schools in our UNC system that does not have a Dean of Students office. Is anybody familiar with what a Dean of Students is? Yeah, so a couple people, I saw hands. And basically, that is an office that kind of serves as a one-stop shop for a lot of different types of issues that students might have, whether that's, hey, I'm having trouble getting a hold of my faculty, or hey, I've got an issue with this particular policy, or hey, I don't know where to go for this particular concern I have, or, we have some type of new organization that we want to start. How do I get started in that? So there's a lot of different types of services that, as NC State, how we have defined the Dean of Students office. So for us, that office is really made up of those 3 units that you see: fraternity and sorority life, and student leadership and engagement. Those are the ones that were kind of already here. That's right. Jay's back giving herself, as she should, some kudos. The new one is the resiliency and community support space. And that particular office began as a result of this Dean of Students movement. So that office is really responsible for a couple of different things. One is we connect students to resource needs that they have. Somebody mentioned SNAP support a while ago. So our PAC Essentials program sits in this resiliency and community support office. That office not only is responsible for the food pantry, but for emergency funds that students may find themselves in need of, or any kind of other connection to outside agencies that deliver services for students in need or community members in need. They also work with students on off-campus housing needs. So we have a community consortium that is in place, and students can not only go to a website, but they can actually go to the Resiliency and Community Support office and talk about, how do I find off-campus housing? Or, hey, I'm having an issue with my landlord off campus. What do I do? Can you help me walk through this lease? So there's a lot of kind of support services that our students can find in terms of off-campus living too. And then finally, event and resource management is a really big part of what they do as well. How many of you went to Packapalooza? Yeah. So Justine Hollingshead, whose name you see on the screen, she is one of the coordinators of Packapalooza. That is a huge undertaking. About 80,000 people participate in Packapalooza. It's a significant event for not just our campus, but really the city of Raleigh. So lots and lots and lots of work that goes into that. And then finally, and probably more importantly, we coordinate postvention services for our campus. So if a student finds himself either critically ill, either unexpectedly or, kind of anticipating that, being away from the campus, or if we have a student who's passed away, this office coordinates that communication not only with family, but with students, faculty, and other administrators that they are in class with or in other types of events with. So lots of stuff kind of happening out of that office. Again, new to our campus. We will continue to evolve those services as a Dean of Students office. And then the other area that I'm responsible for on a daily basis is university housing. So you all are familiar with that office, especially as first years, you're required to live on campus. And we have a lot of different folks who make those things happen as well, to include over 400 student employees out of that particular unit. So lots of stuff going on in there. From a division perspective, I'm responsible for space planning. So that seems like it's not a big deal, but space is a really big deal on this campus, not only for staff, but for students as well. So just having space in this building, making sure we have enough reservable space for student organizations to have their meetings, et cetera. Facilities projects that happen in our division. So whether that is something that happens in Price Music Center, or it's happening in the Craft Center, or it's happening in university housing, or it could be happening even in University College. Those things run through my area. I also make sure that DASA, which is how we kind of refer to ourselves as, is represented on a number of different panels across the university, to include what happens with buildings even that are not in the DASA realm. So the Woodson Hall project, as an example, I sit on that campus design review panel, and we get a chance to have commentary and respond to those types of facilities. So next slide, if we get back to that, maybe not. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the main focus of why I'm here, which is engaging others. So show of hands, how many of you like being told what to do? 2, 3, maybe 2.5 people. Yeah. Sometimes it's okay, right? Because you want clear objectives for what you're doing. But how does it, let me ask it differently. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, why did you not raise your hand? Yeah.
So, and hopefully I'm not the only person who feels this way, so I won't seem but so arrogant. So I like listening to people when I think they have words of wisdom. I do not like doing something when, for lack of a better way of putting, I believe the person's suggestion or command is idiotic.
Okay. You're probably not the only one. Yeah. Anybody else? How about if you're being asked for a list of things that you would like to do? Yeah, I'm good with that too. Like if I get invited to the conversation and I am asked, hey, how do you want to participate? I'm good with that. What about if you're being asked for your perspective or your thoughts about an issue? Yeah, almost everybody. So that's really kind of what we're going to talk about, because I was thinking about the ways in which I think engaging with others can be helpful. And I want you to consider the following suggestions from a few different perspectives. Okay, so first of all, you personally, like how does that strike you in your daily life? How do you engage with others just as a student, as a person in political science, or whatever it is that you're here to do? The second is your role as a student leader. Think about these things again from your role here. Maybe you're involved in some other student organizations as well, or you are in a class where you've been asked to take on some responsibility. And then finally, your future role as a professional, like beyond graduation. So consider these things in those kind of three capacities. So first is really understanding your role. So your role, as Chancellor Howell said, is really to connect with your peers, kind of understand what the student experience is from a bunch of different perspectives, engage with the campus community, right? Find out what's on their minds, and then really synthesize this information in a very clear manner so that it represents the issue and that it really kind of provides that solution orientation, whether it's through a bill, legislation, et cetera. And everyone also represents a college, right? Or a division, or yourself. And I think that that's part of the role that sometimes even Chancellor Howell kind of alluded to it. That's important, right? Because you might sit in this room with these people this year. You might not see them for another little bit, or you graduate and you meet them again 15 years later, right? So remember, you sit in a variety of roles. So my question to you is, are you passive in trying to gather information? Like, are you waiting for people to come and talk to you? Are you going out and asking people? Are you actively engaging and seeking out information that they want you to talk about? I thought I didn't see what you had either on your can. What was that again? Olipop. Okay, gotcha. I thought that was a great suggestion for taking a look at kind of what's happening in our stores as well. So are you waiting for those people to come? Or are you saying, hey, good gosh, I just paid $6 for this, whatever, or not? So that's part of your role. And you have to understand how to activate that throughout the course of your leadership experience. But conversely, administrators have roles too in this, and we want to engage with you. And I will say, I'm going to call Judson out because he came to my office just earlier this week. And that was incredible to me because I don't know each of you individually. But to take the initiative to come over and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this legislation that we have put out there, and I want to learn more. That's exactly, as an administrator, what I want to hear, because maybe there's something that either I know or I don't know, or there's a person that I could connect you to that will help you in your role as a student leader. But as an administrator, we also have to follow the laws of the state of North Carolina. We also have to follow the laws of UNC system. And there's a lot of those guidelines, bless you, that really kind of influence what we do, right? So we have to also think about the reputation of the institution. We want you to be proud of the place that you are going to get a degree from, right? So all of the things we do and say and the decisions we make and the things that we do with you is really kind of making sure that we reach those goals.
One moment, Dr. McGallard. We have ran out of time for 15 minutes. Do I see a motion to extend the period? All right, I recognize Avery to extend the period.
Move to extend for 10 minutes.
All right, there's been a motion to extend the presentation by 10 minutes. I'll recognize second from Senator Falso. All those in favor of extending the period of presentation by 10 minutes, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it, and you may go ahead.
Perfect, thanks. So knowing your audience, what does that mean to you when you hear know your audience? Yeah.
So speaking on topics that the people you are speaking to want to hear about, keeping them engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll help me prepare my presentation and curate it for the audience that I'm going to speak to. If I know at what level to speak to, like how much in depth I need to go into on a certain topic.
Perfect. So I will say that I think about this every single time. So when I was contacted about coming tonight, I was like, oh, okay. I think of myself and the ways I engage based upon my audience. So if I have an audience with the chancellor and I go to a meeting with him, I'm going to be a whole lot more formal than I am when I am sitting with a student, face to face. I guarantee you that Judson will say that I probably was a little bit more informal with him the other day than I would be sitting in front of the chancellor, right? So how I engage with my staff and my peers may be different. And I would say the same thing for you all, right? And Chancellor Howell, again, alluded to that and how you all talk to one another in this chamber and how you talk to one another outside of it, really important. So what for me makes a difference, though, is being still authentic, still being myself, but my language may change, right? Next is using your resources, and it's really about understanding people's sphere of influence, right? Because you have opportunity to be in front of a lot of different people at this institution, especially in your role as a student leader. You have access just like everybody else, but probably a little bit more because, again, you are sitting in a leadership role. So if you don't know who to go to, if you need resources, you got a whole lot of people that you can ask. Jay was just in here. She stepped out for a minute. Emily, as your student advisor, has a whole lot of information about that. Reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with someone if I happen not to know the answer on something. But advocating to the right person about whatever topic it is that you all are getting ready to debate, or maybe you want to know more about something that hasn't even come up yet, but you're thinking about it, that really goes a long way towards understanding context. I sent out an email to several of my colleagues across the institution in preparation for tonight, and I asked them, what advice would you give Student Senate, the senators who are thinking about what is on the minds of our students? And they said, context is everything. So find out what information there is that exists, find out what data is out there that exists around whatever it is that you need to learn more resources about. Respecting the process really for me is about trusting the process and the organization, right? And I mean that, you've got student leaders up here of your organization who have been entrusted through elected processes to represent all of you and those who aren't sitting in this room. So sometimes they might be privy to information that you're not. Sometimes they might be sitting in a room that they learn more about the situation or the issue or the idea that you might have that might be really important to conversations that you all will have. There's also, as I mentioned, all of the university and state and federal level policies and rules and guidelines and those kinds of things. And sometimes those are non-negotiables. I mean, it just happens that way. It happens for me too. Like there are some things that I can and can't do in all of those units that report to me because there's a law or there is a restriction or there is a rule about it, and it just is what it is. And I would love to change it, but that's not possible sometimes. So you're good. And finally, I would just say that trust, I mentioned that first. I'm going to mention it last in this particular section too, because that's really important, especially as you are developing culture. Understanding the issue is really about making sure that you think first and then you do. Acting on something before you know all of the information, you might spin your wheels for a little while on that because you don't know everything yet. Hear all sides of an issue. You notice I didn't say both sides because I think sometimes there's more than two sides to an issue. And I think that that's really important. And, one of the comments that I got back from one of my outreach emails was sometimes the legislation that comes through doesn't state things completely accurately, and it puts the department, the office, the person, the resource, whomever, kind of behind the eight ball. Because if there had been more information gathered at the beginning, you might have just been able to have a conversation instead of legislation. And there might be something that already exists that will help you. I would also say, in addition to what Chancellor Howell said about civility and civil conversation, there is also room for disagreement and compromise. That's what this is about, right? And it's understanding one another, listening to one another, as he said, and making sure that, the things that you're bringing forward make a difference. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for. And finally, I would say that language is critical. It's really key. How we do things and how we say things is a whole lot better and easier, and probably is just as impactful as what happens, right? So, language and resolutions have to be accurate. I started my conversation saying, how many of you like to be told what to do? Administrators don't like to be told what to do, just like you don't like to be told what to do either, right? But having a conversation with one another to say, hey, we would really like for you to consider this. What else exists out there? Then we can say, yeah, you're right. We probably do need to have that conversation, and here's how that can play out. And let's work together to make something happen to make sure that the student experience is great. Overstating things sometimes, or stating things in absolutes, it really distracts sometimes from the conversation, and it puts people on the defensive. And I don't know about you all, but defensive conversations tend to be a little bit frustrating, and I don't think y'all want that for yourselves. I know I don't want that for you. And getting us to a point where we can make sure that the student experience is everything it can be starts with, again, good language, clear, concise, making sure that we're working together. Assuming good intent, that's just kind of like the golden rule, right? We want to make sure that everybody's bringing something forward because it's for the betterment of everyone. The bottom line is that face-to-face discussions, knowing that your fellow senator or the people that you're going to for resources and context about an issue are all here to make sure that the student experience is great, is probably the best way to approach most things, because at the end of the day, we all care. And that's why you're having the conversations about those ideas and issues, right? And finally, why this is important. It's really about professional growth, right? The core principles that I just talked to you about is exactly how I have built relationships on this campus, how I've worked with campus partners who I've disagreed with, by the way, on a lot of things. And it helps guide me in pretty much my day-to-day. Professional growth is really important because, as Chancellor Howell said, he learned so much in this role when he was in your seat that helped prepare him for not only what he's doing now, but what he did in between. So these same skills are just as important in the workplace as they are right now. And, trying to build consensus on things really does come best, probably face to face, making sure that you offer solutions, not just point out the things that you might not agree on. Having a network, you got one right here. And you've got so many other networks that you can be connected to and take advantage of. So I want to make sure you do that. The values that I've put up there are NC State values. They're on our website. I'm not sure if any of you knew that. I'm not sure actually I knew that until I looked at the full list. But those words, excellence, integrity, community, collaboration, those really stood out to me when I started thinking about the work that you all do in here, the conversations you have, the debates you have, the legislation you bring forward. It really is about ensuring that NC State and our student experience follows into those same values. The bottom line, we're all on the same team. And regardless of the role, whether you're an administrator, a student leader, or a student member of the Wolfpack, we are all here because we want to be at this university. And we want this university to thrive, and we want it to continue to grow. And don't forget that the administrators who were here tonight and those who aren't here tonight have chosen this work. We chose to be here, and we have a passion for what we do. I saw a quote recently from Simon Sinek, if does anybody know who that is, that states, working hard for things we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. And you've just heard from the most passionate leader that I have worked for, Chancellor Howell. It's amazing to me that he has such a deep-rooted history at NC State, and now he's back to be our leader. You've heard from a person who sits in our finance area and is passionate about ensuring that this university has the resources we need. And then you're hearing from me. This is my place. I love NC State. I want you all to have the same kind of experience that I did and more. And I want to make sure that we all understand that we're working together to make sure that NC State is the place for everyone, not just those who get the opportunity to sit in this room. So thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to do the same thing as we did last time. So I'll put your name on the board if you have a question. Are there any questions for Dr. McGallion? I recognize Senator Shackles.
Hello, thank you for coming. I just had a question or asking for advice. I'm a newer senator, and I'm trying to figure out how to best advocate for my constituents and the rest of the student body. And I know a lot of people who have concerns and don't feel like they're being heard by the administration, and I want to remedy that and figure out what can our next steps be. So do you have any ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would honestly say some of the things that I've talked about tonight, come see me. Go see Jay Cannon. Go see Emily. You have a lot of resources at your fingertips. I'm happy to chat anytime. So reach out and let's talk about what those concerns are, what those things are that people are thinking that they want to kind of bring to light. Let's talk about them and see what kind of resources you might need. And maybe there's some that are existing that we're just not educating you all on or letting you know about. But that would be where I would start for sure. Yeah.
All right. I recognize from Senator Stinnett.
So there was on one of the slides you had like kind of a list of the different like I guess subgroups. Where do graduates at? Because I'm looking at it and I kind of don't really see us in there like at all.
Graduate students are across every single one of those departments. There are 55 departments you're only seeing a smidge of those departments because there's a whole other piece of this org chart. But every single graduate student, undergraduate student, et cetera, exist in all of those units.
Sorry, I think I didn't ask my question very clearly. I apologize. I do mean, I guess, that specific box, but I guess particularly the student life and advocacy section.
Yeah, that office exists for all students, regardless of undergrad or graduate students. So there could be a graduate student who has needs for PAC Essentials funding. It could be that they have need for a connection to student legal because they need some help for off-campus issues, things like that. Any student can come to any of these offices for any of those services. Does that answer your question? It's not going to say graduate student support or undergraduate student support. We are here for all students. Student affairs is a generalist division that helps all students on campus. Does that? Okay, we can talk later if you have a specific question about that.
Hi. So my question is, given recent events, there's been a lot of concern among international students about what they can and cannot do with protests. Is there any guidelines you would recommend so that international students can present their concerns in, for lack of a way of putting it, a less than at times agreeable way, but at the same time still feel safe that they're not going to be targeted?
So I would say two things. One is NC State is committed to freedom of speech. We're a public institution that makes sure that students are protected in that way and that their speech is protected. So I would say that if they have specific questions about how to safely, I think was a part of your question, protest, they can certainly come to Resiliency and Community Support. That office actually exists in this building, and talk with either Justine Hollingshead or Aaron Briner about how they can do that. There are certainly guidelines, use of space guidelines. I'm sure you all are familiar with PRRs, policies, rules, and regulations that exist at the institution. Those offer some of those guidelines as well, and those are available on the NC State website. But I would probably start with either that website reference, use of space PRR or the resilience and community support.
Anyone else? If not, we'll thank our presenter. Thank you. Deputy Treasurer Schofield, can you turn off the mic, please? Thank you. All right. With that, we're going to move on to our agenda. A long time. All right, we're going to go into open for comments from the student body up to 3 minutes each, total time 15 minutes, and any. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you may come up.
Hi, everyone. I don't anticipate as many questions as Chancellor Howell, so we got it. I'm here to talk today about the fall 2025 election. This presentation is basically just an obligation to create transparency into the process of the election, not necessarily the results, as we all know the results of it. So we can go to the next slide. So the fall 2025 election officially concluded on September 25th. That was the day that the runoff election was certified. This was conducted for first-year undergraduate seats, 14 in total. Unfortunately, no eligible graduate candidates filed this year, which is unfortunately typical in some fall cycles. There was one violation hearing. The process ran very smoothly, and most importantly, we had some great turnout for voter participation. You can go to the next slide. This is just an overview of the this is just an overview of the timeline from the start of classes through certification. Sorry, it's a little, oh no, it's big up there. So basically we held 4 interest meetings, which is required of us in statutes in the Board of Elections handbook. This gave new students plenty of chances to learn about running. We also tried to hold these at different times throughout the day, just so everybody had an opportunity to come, no matter their class schedule. Books opened on September 2nd and remained open for 7 days until September 9th. After that, there were 2 all candidates meetings. Campaigning began on September 15th, with voting taking place on September 22nd and 23rd. Results were certified the next day, and then the runoff was held on the 25th. Everything stayed fully compliant with the statutory timeline provided to us through student body statutes. Next slide, please. So voter participation, I've talked about this before in Senate, but we got 947 voters, which is the highest ever for a fall election. So we're really proud of that. That compares to last year, there was 468 voters, so that's over a 100% increase. We had 33 candidates file, and after disqualifications due to not completing an all candidates post module, which you all should be familiar with, some withdrawals and things like that, 27 made it to the ballot. As I said, there were 14 seats available, and as happens almost every election in recent history, for student government, a runoff was required. Again, increased by more than double. We got 358 voters in the runoff, which is amazing. So this just all goes to say that when we advertise things, we make things easy to access. And honestly, when things are competitive, students get excited, because without competition, there's no incentive for anyone to vote, really. You can go to the next slide. So in terms of promotion and engagement, just some little things. Historically, we've had banners and tally for the spring election. We decided with comms to do that for the fall as well. We sent an email blast to all eligible voters, which has been done in the past. Get involved if you logged in at the time. It would tell you to vote. There was and we used the Instagram to promote it. And then perhaps the biggest thing that we did were polling stations and tally, where we offered crumble cookies, which people were very, very excited about. And I hope to have next semester. That'll obviously be on a much bigger scale, but we'll see. There's also a laptop for you to vote in and log into, and then you could also QR code for your phone. So this, combination of outreach really helped us, and we think it paid off in doubling participation. You can go to the next slide. So it was competitive from start to finish. We're really proud of that. You can actually go to the next slide. This is just a breakdown of the votes, which has been publicized on the SG website. So we're really happy with how everything turned out. at the bottom there was the runoff, and so that's what that asterisk is for. You can go to the next slide, please. Violations, there's only one violation. It was just mostly a clerical error, to be honest, with campaign finance. The candidate immediately self-reported, refunded the excess, and provided receipts. The board voted 5-0 to issue a notification recognizing that the violation was unintentional and fully corrected. So luckily no disqualification was necessary for that. So I think that was a really good example of how, like, just hold yourself accountable and be honest about things, and we'll all take care of each other. You can go to the next slide. Just some administrative notes. As I said, everything met the statutory timeline as provided in the student body statutes and then in our own elections handbook. Get involved. We didn't note any technical issues. Luckily, everything was certified on time, even including the runoff election, which was slightly harder to reach quorum. But so if you have anyone who wants to join the Board of Elections, we're always recruiting. And the SU advisors, at least one of them, were present for all hearings and deliberations. You can go to the next slide. And that'll be it. So yeah, you can go to the next slide. Sorry. So that concludes the report. Thank you guys for your time. I know it's been a long night already. I'm happy to answer any questions about this process or recommendations for next cycle or anything like that.
All right, now we're going to open up a 10-minute period of questions for the Board of Elections chair. I recognize Senator Stinnett.
Hey, me talking about graduate students again. Sorry. So you mentioned that it's pretty typical that there's not really ever any graduate students in the fall election. I do remember in the spring as well, there were very few of us. I think there were 5 or 6 on the ballot. I actually think this is kind of a nice example of why when you group them, undergraduates and graduates together, it often leads to graduate students kind of showing up in low numbers. So what are your plans to change that and to increase outreach to graduate students in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we always want races to be competitive, and the grads are a big delegation. And so unfortunately, with the way that we're prescribed to do elections, we're very set in stone in terms of what is to be included in elections, who's on a ballot, and things like that. So if there were interest in running like 2 separate elections at separate times, that would have to be something that would be changed in statute, which I don't believe the board could do. That would have to be brought through Senate resolution. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Does that affect like outreach though?
No. So, I mean, outreach is for the fall election, and we do specify in terms of like in interest meetings what positions are available and things like that. I guess my understanding of your question was having 2 separate things, but in terms of outreach, no, that doesn't affect it. We market graduates and undergraduates equally in like interest meetings and things like that.
I recognize Senator Britt.
And I'll be honest, I don't know the statutes very well, so this may or may not be. But have y'all ever thought just to increase graduate student participation? GSA does let people know that like when we have seats available for graduate students, but maybe it would be possible that like there's a collaboration where we have student senator officers come to a graduate student meeting to let people know that like student senate is not just for undergraduates, because sometimes even though we like GSA says like no, you can have graduate student senators, it doesn't always kind of register because there is also the GSA, and many people sometimes mistake us as like the graduate student government, for lack of a better way of putting it.
I can take that. We do have a graduate student liaison with our student government. I believe it's Senator Rahman, but he also serves in a senator capacity. So that's mainly the purpose is to bring, I guess, the open seat to the graduate delegation to the GSA and promote anything of the student government over there. Additionally, I've sent to the GSA president to include in their graduate student listserv open graduate seats. So that's another way we've been connecting with that. But there's definitely more potential ways for collaboration that could be really incentivizing the spring election. Arcane Scree from Senator Washington Jr.
Yeah, so I hate to like beat a dead horse, but I still feel like Katie's question wasn't necessarily answered. So you said that you're doing the same outreach effort for graduate students and undergraduate students. But the question was, because of the disproportionality of graduate students and undergraduate students, how are you creating an equitable distinction of doing more outreach so that the graduate representation is not minimal or not present at all? What are you doing to make that more representative and equitable?
Yeah, so there's many different methods of marketing that we go through more intensively in the spring election. That's mostly with collaborating with the comms department. And so we do things like the billboards around campus, we do things like the emails, and those are very general things. But then there's also more specific things like individual college newsletters and things like that. So we try to get our foot in the door as much as we can through the different communication options that we're given. Now, us as the Board of Elections, we don't go and speak to anyone to, promote elections or anything. That's seen more generally in terms of interest meetings. Outreach generally, like that would be specific to the grad delegation, would be through collaboration between us and comms using like newsletters and things like that, which
Okay.
is the same for undergraduates.
Thank you.
Recognize Senator Hollister.
Seeing that there were so many candidates this year, my question is: does anyone know how many candidates there were last fall, and if that's a deciding, like a contributing factor to the voter turnout?
I
first
don't
years.
know off the top of my head how many candidates there were.
We'll refer that to the Board of Election Chair Emeritus of 2024-2025.
I
Second
think
year.
I know it wasn't as many as this year. I think in total we had like starting out was 29 or something like that, 27, 29. It went up a little bit this year. But yeah.
I think the increase was relatively proportional to the increase in class size. Also, there was a raise from 14 seats available from 10 previously,
Right.
due to
Okay.
apportionment change.
Makes sense. I didn't know if more candidates means more votes, but
I mean, it does, and that just competition generally makes for more votes. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll thank our Board of Elections Chair. All right, now we're going to move into open floor comments and announcements from anyone who's not current or former member of student government. Would anyone like to address the Senate? Seeing none, we're going to move out of the comments and into the reports of the officers, starting with proxy Vice Treasurer.
Good evening, Senate. You may have noticed I'm not Lance. He is away at an agricultural conference in Kansas City, and so I am very happy to be filling in for him tonight to deliver the Treasury report. Yes, so later on, I'm sure, as many of you noticed, we have 4 Treasury officials being appointed tonight. It's a very good opportunity for us to grow our team. Appropriations is a very labor-intensive process, and so having more people in the Treasury branch is very helpful, not only for us, but for the broader student body as we take on that initiative. Last Friday, there was a Treasury leadership meeting with myself, Lance, and the 3 assistant treasurers. We were looking to kind of revamp the appropriations process. We did a survey of people who participated, and we are currently have projects out with the assistant treasurers, hoping to have some good results with that. And so thank you for everyone who participated in that survey. And more updates will come as we tackle those initiatives. And we're having bi-weekly meetings now. And also, appropriations checks have not been delivered yet from the business office. We've had a lot of questions about that, but are expected to be coming this week, if not next. So I'll be on the lookout for that. And distribution will be occurring in the suite. Lance and I will be spearheading that. And so, yeah, I look forward to that. And yeah, thank you.
All right, are there any questions for Deputy Treasurer? Seeing now, we're going to move into the report. Oh, a question?
Have you guys communicated to orgs at all about the timeline? Because I've had like 4 or 5 come by this week,
Yeah. We haven't set a general email. It's something we're working on this week. We're going to send out the receipt form and unspent funds form from last cycle, and so we're going to kind of give an update on that. We had some reach out to us as well. We've been communicating with them kind of on a case by case basis, and kind of just letting them know. But we did let them know during the appropriations process that checks come in batches, and we don't really have control over that. And so,
Right.
All right. Are there any other questions? See, now we're going to move into the report of the student by vice president.
Guys, in my 4 years here at student government, I've not once, outside of a leadership retreat, seen senior admin come in to a Senate meeting. So applaud to Student Senate President Dean for making that happen. We reached out for cabinet. They didn't get back to us, so they must like you guys more. But I think it's really great that they're willing to have these conversations with us. I think it starts conversations like Paul was alluding regarding campus enterprises and more. And I encourage you guys to reach out. Vice Chancellor McGalliard is someone we meet monthly with and is an extremely open person. Raise your hand if you went to leadership retreat. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to Makia, who was here until recently, for planning the fun celebration of Emily and her fiance at the end. That was a blast. And I wanted to say, just on a brief note, I think that some of you guys have taken some of the things that Vice Chancellor Hong spoke about at the leadership retreat concerning approaching admin about bills during the drafting phase. I've heard the questions at committee meetings and the intentionality behind making sure that resolutions coming out are solid and that they're not just going to fall into the wayside by admin. And I encourage you guys to continuing to do that to make sure that your legislation has the most impact across our campus. Also, keep your attention for just one more moment and then you can zone out. Important updates. I need volunteers for the Food Recovery Network for this Friday at 3 p.m. We need only like 2 or 3 more volunteers. So if you have the time and you want to save some food from a dining hall before it goes into a trash can, please take the 30, 40 minutes it is to box that up. And all the donations go to the Feed the Pack Pantry, which, as you guys know, during this time is especially important that we maximize the resources to that pantry. At wellness break, I have 2 stacks of cards, one of them with completed cards and one of them for cards to be filled out. We're making a really big effort this year for Day of Giving. There will be a script on the screen. If each of you guys could take one, the stack will disappear. So please take the time to fill one out at the wellness break. There will be a script there. Also, lastly, there will be Blue Book tabling Monday. Great way for senators that are looking to increase their outreach. It's an excellent opportunity. Also, I'm signed up for like 3 or 4 of the hours. So if you have exec initiatives or plans for initiatives, I would love to kind of take an hour to talk with you about your goals and ambitions with that. And then otherwise, there'll be a teaching kitchen event an hour before Senate. I think it's like a light baking activity, so that'll be a lot of fun and just a really great informal way to get to talk to senators and exec members about stuff. But otherwise, as always, you guys can scroll down to see what's been going on. I hope you all had a blast at the football game and rushed the field. That has something else that hasn't happened in the last 4 years. And then also got to experience the Red Reckoning on Monday. Continue to show support to Will Wade as he wages his way for a national championship. And with that, I'll conclude my report.
Great. Are there any questions for student by vice president? Organized Senator Hollister.
I might be a little out of the loop. I apologize. Could you quickly explain what Blue Book is?
Yeah. And I forgot one thing. Shout out to Athletics Director Hedgebeth for crushing it. She's been juggling a lot between basketball and football, booking distribution, also big head distribution. Has been handling it like a champ. To answer your question, the Blue Book Initiative was something we started during the first round of midterms. Blue Books are booklets that primarily intro level classes will utilize to administer exams with. They only cost around 75 cents. But it's really a pain if you're a student to run over to the library or the Wolfpack Outfitter store and grab them. So we decided this year would be a great way to get to meet your representative and grab a Blue Book at the start of the semester. So now that midterms are resuming again in October-ish, November, we resume the initiative. So for the next 3 Mondays, we'll be tabling and tally, and we'll probably have some graphics going out about that as well. But again, excellent opportunity to meet constituents, and I had a blast doing it about a month ago and got to talk to a lot of students.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions? All right, I'll recognize Student by President Crenio for a report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being attentive during the presentations and for engaging with the administrators in a meaningful way. It encourages our relationships and effective advocacy. With that, I'll jump into some updates from my office. Selfies with the Chancellor. I don't know if any of you dropped by. I know some of you did. It was a great success last week. A great event during Red and White Week to put students in front of the Chancellor and just have a casual event. And that was fun. Thank you to all that went. And also thank you to those, particularly on the leadership table, that helped set up. Installation on October 30th, last Thursday, was a success as well. It was a historic day celebrating NC State, our 15th Chancellor, and charting forward where we will go in the future of our institution. And it was an honor to be a part of that day. I will be at the Board of Trustees meeting next week, Thursday and Friday. If there are any concerns or ideas that you have or that you think are particularly important for me to be considering as I navigate that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Finally, I want to talk about Ticket to Table. This was a program that was spearheaded by executive branch, and we implemented it from October 20th through the 31st. The gist was if you got a parking ticket, $60 or less from October 10th through the 31st, you could get that forgiven if you donated to Feed the Pack Food Pantry. So let's see what the outcomes were of that event. It was all about promoting tangible results that students could see and feel in their own campus experience. It's something that Anil and I ran on, and it did. Here's how it did. So we had 96 total requests for dismissal. Our advertising received over 44,000 views on social media across, of course, on social media, but we also advertise on campus, on placards, on billboards, on A-frames near parking facilities. Varied donation amounts. What do I mean by that? I mean that let's say you have a $60 ticket. Technically, you could have bought 12 cans of beans and gotten it fully forgiven. That's like $6. Varied donation in the sense that students weren't just buying 12 cans of beans. Students were spending $30, $40, $50 in what Feed the Pack Food Pantry requested to get their ticket forgiven, indicating student willingness to support Feed the Pack Food Pantry, even if it meant still spending an equivalent amount on their ticket. So that was important. Over $4,000 in parking fines were dismissed by the end of the program. And this one, it might be a bit more difficult to quantify, but over 200 pounds of food donated to Feed the Pack Food Pantry. If you look at the report, we'll see this that Feed the Pack posted. One day of donations yielded in this wagon, these 3 wagons over here, ultimately all on the shelves. We have yet to see what the rest of the program yielded for Feed the Pack Food Pantry in terms of things that you can see and visualize. Ultimately, it was a success. Anil and I were very happy that university administration supported it and that it was just a positive outcome for students, that people could engage meaningfully with NC State Transport, with Feed the Pack Food Pantry, and that we could deliver on these commitments we made. And so that was something. So thank you to all that participated. I know some senators did as well. All right, moving into other updates. There's the standard one about website edits. The one that I would like to highlight is that, as we just heard from Joseph and the importance of elections, please apply to be, or you can't apply unless you want to resign, but encourage your friends to apply to be Board of Elections commissioners. We need them for the spring election. They're important. I'm looking for 4 commissioners to make appointments to. The applications are open now. So please, the link is there. Forward it to people you think would be interested in. I would really appreciate that. With that, I'll conclude my report.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Student Body President? Seeing none, we'll take 1 minute for everyone just to read Pro Tem Dewberry's report. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move into my report. All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Since we are coming into November, I want to encourage you all to continue pushing forward as we go into the last semester of the fall semester, last month of the fall semester. So if you want to discuss any legislation or goals or initiatives, I'm always here to help you. So please, it's never too late to discuss that. And also, reminder for door decorations, please remove them ASAP since voting is over. Thank you. And we also have a lot of great goodie bags here. So if you want to take some after, you can. Please take multiple. I do not want some left over, except I will put them in the suite. But don't get them now, please. We'll do it during wellness break. Next, we're going to go into general information. I've appointed Senator Preston Spencer to the position of chair of the Student Government Strategic Visioning Select Committee, and I'm super excited about this forward momentum of this committee and what they're going to accomplish. I've also appointed Senator Shekiah McCoy for the position of Affirmation Officer, and we will be kind of like backtracking on some of the recent appointees just to see if there's any gaps in education that we can help remedy as we're going forward. Next, some upcoming events. Student Government and Student Senate will have another blood drive Monday, 11/17 from 11 to 4. And if you donate blood, you will get $40 in rewards, and the link is there to sign up. Also, our student government will be participating in promoting monetary and food drive donations to Feed the Pack Pantry. I know this has been a concern amongst the student body within our organization, and our student body officer team is reacting to it, and so information will come within the next few days. So please make sure you're spreading this word around once that comes. Next, Senate Social for November will be a Friendsgiving. I'm super excited. It will occur Thursday, November 20th at 8 p.m. in the Student Government Suite. And so this will be kind of like a big potluck for everyone to bring some, I guess, Friendsgiving type food, and more information will come over the listserv. Housekeeping. This is super important. Please, everyone, read this, and I will say it. When replying to emails that are sent over the Senate listserv or the Student Government listserv, please make sure that if you are hitting reply, that you change the email who you're sending it from, which is group-sg-senate plus manager. So you'll notice the managers there. And you need to change it to who you actually want the email to be sent to, because Taekwon and I, we get these emails, not the person who you are intending to send it to. So there's sometimes a large delay in us being able to forward these emails, or sometimes we completely forget to see it. And so if you want your email to be read, please change who it's being sent to. And additionally, due to error in the way the excused absences have been calculated until the recently passed SR 76 at the previous meeting, I will be going back through the attendance records and making adjustments that align with statutes in regards to excused absences. And so this will ultimately negatively affect, but not too much, some people if they had excused absences. I want to make sure that we're adhering to our statutes, even when we have changed statutes going forward as of previous meeting. Resignation and new appointees here today. Please make sure you're filling out the Senator intake form. And another thing that's super important I want to address to you all, please be respectful during presentations like we've had today and just going forward in the future. So that means making sure that you're paying attention, closing your laptops, keeping conversations minimum. Do not leave or enter the chamber when someone is presenting. It is super disrespectful. It is very noisy. We cannot hear them. And also they can see your eyes look down, and it just does not really seem like anyone's participating or listening. So we want to make sure we're being respectful, especially with guests who have dedicated their time at such a late time in the evening. So yeah, that's another important reminder. Please remember going forward. Looking ahead, I have listed our Senate meetings for the spring semester that I have reserved. And yeah, we have 6 meetings. Yes, and then 2 meetings for the 106, which will roll over in the April. And the next Senate meeting, we will be hearing from State of the Branch presentations from the Executive Branch and the Treasury Branch. And lastly, we have birthdays. And that concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions? I recognize you by Vice President.
Can exec participate in your Senate social for the Friendsgiving?
Like exec as a whole, or like student by officers, leadership?
My directors.
I'll consider it, but I don't think that should be an issue. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to move into where are we at? Into the report of the HE delegate, Rebecca Roy, who is not here. So we're going to move out since there's no written report. Now we're going to move into the report of the Chief Justice, Colin Carmichael. Yeah.
Hi. Sorry I missed last meeting. I got frapped for last week, and then 2 weeks ago I hit my head on a solar panel, so I was out for the whole week. But if you're wondering, just like 3 points of contact is like a really important thing to have. And I generally think of myself as a pretty safe person, but yeah, just remember 3 points of contact when you're climbing something. So anyways, it's been a crazy, like since fall break, it's been absolutely crazy. So happy fall. I'm from the Pacific Northwest and I can't handle the humidity in the slightest. So I'm like really happy for this weather. And the peak foliage. This is my first fall in Raleigh, so I've been loving it. If you are, wait, no one's an exec here, but Senate, just stop listening. If you're an exec, please check your emails. I'm like begging you. If anybody, not you two, but if anybody's an exec in here, I'm begging you to check your emails. And Treasury, super soon, you're going to get an email from me. You can like take 20 minutes. We're doing SBO reviews. It's like SBO review week this week and next week. It's like a big thing only for me, but like that doesn't matter. Justice Department has had no new business. So it seems like everyone's right. Thank you. Yeah. It seems like everyone's getting along really well. Statutes look great. So there's obviously, you can see my petition form and you're more than welcome to fill one out. And yeah, that would also be interesting. So yeah, updates again, please check your email. If you got an email from me, which I'm hoping you did, if you're not in Senate, you just fill out that form. I tried to make it easy and like according to statutes. So the SBO review, I would prefer it be done by the 12th because I have to write all these reports, but I'm keeping it open till the 16th at 11:59 p.m. And the link is in my email. I opened the ethics comment form. If you have like if you feel some sort of way or you've had some sort of experience where you think I should know about it, not in a way where I should pursue like some sort of board of ethics thing, but would be helpful for me to know in crafting this ethics review, since this will be the first time I'm doing ethics review or anyone's doing ethics review. Please fill that out. Get anybody to apply to the Deputy Chief Justice. Like I was supposed to have them confirmed at this meeting and I still have not had one person submit it. So I'm begging you, anybody, I sent this all over the listserv like a month ago. I'm begging anybody with a pulse that can read and can like, synthesize info. I don't smell. I promise I'm like really nice. Anyone who wants to work with me, please fill that out. You cannot be in Senate and be Deputy Chief Justice, but any of your friends, just like anybody, email me, call me. I'd be more than happy to tell you how much fun we are going to have putting together this red book, you guys. So yeah, and you're going to hear a lot from me because I'm doing the reports of all the student body officers, except for the student senate president, because she has her own process. But I'm going to do the report of my review of the student body president, student body vice president, and student body treasurer, according to statutes at the next Senate meeting. So you will hear from me then. And thank you. And you can email me if you want. My email is always open and I check it every day. So have an amazing evening, Senate.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Chief Justice Carmichael? Seeing none, we're going to move into the report of the Board of Election Chair, Joseph Adenucci.
Hey y'all, I know you already heard from me, but you get to hear from me again. Happy National Stress Awareness Day. I always like to open with like a national day, and sometimes it's fun, but stress awareness is important, so be aware of that. General info, the BOE is well into the process of completing our new elections handbook. We hope to finalize and approve this next week and present it to Grow on November 12th. Just to give you an idea of what goes on, under statute, the committee may vote to overturn any changes we made in the handbook with a 2/3 majority. I don't anticipate any issues. The board has worked carefully to ensure that everything is like thoughtful and practical and not crazy. We've all collaborated with several university partners, including university housing and fraternity and sorority life, to make sure these changes are like realistic and that they are consistent across campus. So we're really excited with the collaboration we've had with that. Dawn is a good example who we've been collaborating with. So we really appreciate their input. I have open office hours every week in the Blue Room on Tuesdays. Not this Tuesday though, because I won't be here. So if you want the Blue Room, I won't be in it. Thank you for all your thank you for your attention to my report today. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding that. Also, something I lacked to put in the report is that the spring 2026 timeline has been posted on the elections webpage. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Not something you need to be, crazy about right now, but just something to keep on your radar. And yeah, that should be it. If you have any questions, just let me know.
All right. Are there any other questions or any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move out of the report of our board election chair and into the reports of the committee chairs. Since there's no document linked, is there any chair that would like to give a report? It's okay if not. Are there any questions for the chairs? Maybe what their committee's doing? All right, we're going to move out of that report and into the report of our advisors.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday night and first Wednesday in November. 2 primary updates for y'all. The first is that if you ordered a student government name tag, they are up at the front of the room next to the Chief Justice. If you have not picked yours up yet, please do so tonight. Thank you so much. The second is we are excited to launch our Guided Growth, a professional development series for y'all, student government members. This series will feature various workshops designed to complement your student leader experience in student government and help you grow not only with your student government role, but also as a student academically and in your professional work in whatever you do. Our first workshop will be next Wednesday. It's called Beyond the Ballot, Leveraging Your SG Experience in the Professional World. This is to highlight how this workshop is all about how you can highlight your SG experience in an internship or job application, cover letters, resumes, etc. So if you are in the process of applying for internships for next summer or next year, or if you're graduating soon and start wanting to apply for jobs, feel free to come to this workshop and learn how to incorporate your student government experience into your searches. This will be an in-person workshop on next Wednesday at 4:30. It'll be an hour in the SLE suite, and we encourage you to register. And stay tuned for future workshops.
All right. Are there any questions for our advisors? Seeing none, we're going to move out of the reports and into comments and announcements from any member of student government or former member of student government for 1 minute each. Is there anyone who'd like to address the Senate? I recognize Senator Avery.
Just super quick, Bella asked me to say something about DEI committee. We have a mystery service Saturday on this coming Saturday. You should have it in your email. Encourage you guys to sign up. We're going to go do some service. You get in a van, you don't know where you're going, and then they drop you off and you do some service and then take you out for a fun activity after. So go sign up for that.
All right. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the Senate? I recognize Chair Nandula.
Covering for Pro Temp Dewberry for the rest of this meeting, and he has something he wants me to say to you guys. I'll say it in his wording. I'm working on a bill to correct some statutes changes regarding SRC membership eligibility. After conferring with the SPP, I realized it was necessary to provide some clarifications on who can serve. In this new system we have designed, the Chief Justice will have the discretion to review previous violations received by a candidate and decide whether or not they were severe enough to warrant ineligibility for service. This is pretty much a statement, but if there's any feedback, please let him know, or you can say it right now and I'll let him know. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions? Oh, wait. Are there any more comments? I recognize Senator Spencer.
In a few minutes, I'll be hitting send on my email for y'all. I know I had to cancel this week's Probably Pro workshop, but the last one will be happening real soon. And then I'm working with the Pro Temp to get our mock Senate / Probably Pro competition finalized, which will be in the next couple weeks. So be on the lookout for those emails from me.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the Senate? Seeing none, we're going to move into announcements of resignations. Beck Whitehead, Reba Shiganti, both resigned, so you'll accept their resignations. All right, and announcements of delegation switch. Senator Judson Avery will be switching from College of Engineering delegation to the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and this has been practiced in previous sessions in the event that there's a resignation or a vacancy in a college, and one senator is in another college, but they are of a major that is not in that college and it's in a different delegation. They have the option to either stay in their delegation, represent that college, or switch to the delegation they feel represents them in their major. So we'll accept this as valid. And next, we're going to move into the approval of appointments of senators and other student government officials, starting with the Treasury officials. So first, we're going to have 5 minutes of an appointing official report. And so I'll recognize a motion from Senator Lewis.
I would like to place the 4 Treasury officials in block.
All right, there's a motion to place them in block. I'll see a second by Senator Cars. Sorry, it's late. All those in favor of placing the 4, actually, are all the Treasury officials up for appointment here? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. So all those in favor of moving in block these Treasury officials, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it, and they'll be considered in block. So first, we're going to go with the 5-minute appointing official report. So I'll recognize Deputy Treasurer to give that 5-minute report.
Hello again. So I kind of touched on this during the report, but I just want to say they all had great applications. We're super excited to expand the branch. As I mentioned, during the appropriations process, it's super important to have a lot of individuals that can help us out with interviews and just working with the broader community. And so it's really helpful for us. Just to speak on the applicants themselves, we've had representation not just from PCOM, but from other majors. And so they have a breadth of knowledge and experience. And so it'll be super helpful for us and will look great for the student body. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right. And GROW Chair is not here for a GROW Chair report on the Treasury official application. I believe this application was approved in the spring with no concerns. Yeah, so I'll just move now into a 7-minute period of questions for Deputy Treasurer or GROW Committee. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move into, now we're going to welcome up the Treasury officials who are up for confirmation today. So you can come up to the podium. And so you all will have 90 seconds to give a speech on why you want to be a Treasury official. And then it's going to be followed by a 5-minute period of questions and 5-minute period of deliberations. Make haste, please. All right, you can go first. You have 90 seconds each.
I'm a 3rd-year systems and industrial engineering student. And when I first heard about this position, I was really excited because I'm a transfer student and I found it was a perfect and meaningful way to contribute to the student body. I hope to help students and organizations get the funding that they deserve for research, events, and projects that they're passionate about.
Hi, I'm Jean, and I'm a 4th-year political science major and a minor in business administration. And I love political science because I like to learn about how policy decisions and leadership shape our environment. And I want to do the same as a Treasury official and be a part of the leadership and shape the environment of our student body.
Hi, my name is Emma Rowe. I'm a second year human biology major. And I chose my major because I just went along with my academic and professional goals. My hopes for Treasury official is just like help the student body and become more involved and just to help the student organizations get their funding.
Hi, I'm Aryan Parikh from Applied Math, my first year Applied Mathematics and Economics student. I'm always been really interested in the idea of how numbers tell stories, not just about like profit and loss, but how they connect people, ideas, and decisions. When I first saw this position for Treasury official, it immediately stood out to me, and I'm excited to use this opportunity to support student organizations, ensure fair and transparent funding, and just promote financial literacy. Thank you.
All right, now we're gonna move into a 5-minute period of questions. Are there any questions for the appointees? Seeing none, we're gonna have our Sergeant at Arms escort our Treasury official appointees outside of the room while we go into a 5-minute period of deliberations. This meeting is so quiet. Should I still do a quorum check? Do a quorum check for a second. 'Cause I think I'll go and leave. All right. We're gonna move into a 5-minute period of deliberations, and we're first gonna start off with pro debate. Do I see any pro debate for these Treasury officials? I recognize Senator Britt.
I just think that in general, they all seem great. And like, as always, like anything that can help Lance is great because he's really, I mean, he's really good at his job of keeping track of all this money. I know like the only math class I've ever came close to failing was personal finance. And somehow he manages to keep all the numbers up and tidy. So if he approves of these people, I do too.
All right. Are there any con debate? All right. Are there any pro debate? Any debate at all? See no debate. We'll move out of a period of debate and into voting. Okay. I think the link should work. Hold on. Why are they all open? No, the phone is just already open. No, the form is not linking.
It's not working.
No, it's not linking. Huh? It's just not linking. Has anyone not voted yet? No, you're good. All right, guys. The form is, you know, your votes are on the screen. Okay. The Google form is not linking properly. I don't manage the forms. Pro Tem Dewberry manages the forms, and I don't know how to link it. So if we will get these published in the voting sheets at the end of the meeting by tomorrow, hopefully. But at the moment, you all probably will not be privy to who votes what. Is that okay with everyone? Does anyone have any major concerns? Okay, I'll still call the votes because I can see on my end. So does anyone need to change their vote? Does anyone still need a vote? Okay, I'll be closing the period of voting. And so let's see, 40 in the affirmative, 0 in the negation, and 0 abstentions. Who voted? 41 in the affirmative, 0 in the negation, and 0 abstentions. These Treasury officials do pass, and we'll welcome them in. All right, next we're gonna move into the appointments of the student senators. I recognize motion from Senator Lewis.
I move to place the 2 student senators in block.
All right, there's been a motion to place 2 student senators in block. I recognize a second from Senator Wolf. All those in favor of blocking the 2 student senators appointees, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it, and they'll be placed in block. Okay, so we'll welcome up Manav and Patrick to the podium, where you guys will also give a 90-second speech of why you want to be a student senator, followed by a 5-minute period of questions, and we'll have a sergeant at arms escort you out.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Manav Bala. I'm a second-year industrial and systems engineering student at NC State. And so kind of what inspired me to join student government was just spending time in the suite and getting to meet a wide variety of people and kind of talking with them and seeing how dedicated they were towards serving the school and serving their community kind of led me to want to be a part of that and join student government. Some of the things that I hope to accomplish while in my time as student government is mostly to just increase the visibility between students and other senators. I feel like increasing that sort of communication can further improve our school and help you guys make accurate decisions on what to actually accomplish and what needs to get done. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Law Jr., and I'm a freshman. I'm a biology student, and I'm up for confirmation to be a senator as a delegation for the College of Sciences. A little anecdote. Last year, my mom and I spent about 4.5 hours standing, but we were waiting to see President Obama speak, former President Obama. And even speaking from from a nonpartisan perspective, when you see someone like that who represents so much, you understand in a palpable sense how important representation is. And that is the main reason I want to become a senator. I know looking around that this is already a very diverse group, but I hope that I can join it and in some ways, and in many ways, hopefully in any way that I can, help NC State to become an even more inclusive and diversity-seeking community. And then that, speaking with students already, some of the initiatives in which I want to explore include dining, making sure that all areas of campus are resource equitable. And I look forward to speaking with you more. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions? All right, can I scream from Senator Britt?
Hi. So as student senators, what would be the big thing you would want to accomplish in your time as a student senator?
That is a great question. I think I would want to first look at what is already being explored to see where I could fit in best. But I think really taking a look and oversight over our diversity initiatives, and also, like I mentioned a few moments ago, making sure that the resources, especially between main campus and Centennial, are equitable.
I think for me, kind of as I said, visibility is a very big kind of thing for me. Is making sure that our students see like who their representatives are and who can actually help them accomplish the problems that they want to be solved. I think another thing for me that's kind of like popped up in just I guess past week, almost it's been like 4 days, is because of how Snap has kind of ended for the time being. It seems like ensuring that people on our campus who can't really like who are on food stamps or on these sorts of programs are still safe, they're still healthy, and making sure that they're still taken care of and accounted for.
All right. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we'll have our Sergeant at Arms escort our appointees out. All right. Since we last started with pro debate, we'll start with con debate. Do I see any con debate for these appointees? Do I see any pro debate? Do I see con debate? Any debate? All right. Seeing none, we're going to move into a period of voting. And I will open it up. It's already linked. Oh, no. I don't know how to do it though. Hmm? What?
Are they like different links than the ones you have for what?
What do you mean? No, like you would have to know how to do the technical aspect of transferring it. It's like no, there's a specific way since it's like a already created sheet, but then also like I don't know. It's too complicated. I don't want to mess up anything with the votes or like doing it. I think yeah, he can. All right, everyone. I will also like to note, please, everyone listen, this is really important. We are almost at not meeting quorum. So if we get about 7 or less, maybe 6 or 5 more senators to leave the chamber, we will be we will be below quorum. So please don't do that. I'm begging you. We will get through these fast. All right. Has anyone not voted yet? Okay. Would anyone like to change their vote? Let's see if it's linked. Oh, she is not. Hello. Is anyone still waiting to vote? All right. With that, with 37 in the affirmative, 0 in the negation, and a 1 abstention, these appointees do pass. We welcome them in. All right. So next we're going to move into the confirmation of the Senate officer. I'll recognize a motion from Senator Wolf.
I move to place the appointment of acclamation officer McCoy to after second reading.
All right. So there's been a motion to move this item of business to after second reading just because Senator McCoy did say she's able to attend after 10 p.m., but it is getting kind of close. So in the event that we get to the period, then we will have to table it to the next meeting. So with that motion, I'll recognize second from Senator Avery. All those in favor of moving this confirmation to after second reading, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, the ayes have it and it'll be moved. Next, we're going to move into a wellness break, but I'll first recognize a motion from Senator Preston Spencer.
I move to change the wellness break to 10 minutes, please, and thank you.
All right. I'll recognize a second from Senator Jensen. So all those in favor of moving to 10 minutes of wellness break, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Ooh, the ayes have it, and will be 10 minutes. So come back at 10:40. No one leave. Except if you're a Senate. No, okay, you guys can like leave, but don't leave like Senate. If you're gonna leave, come talk to me first. But yeah, come write a note for alumni. Yo, mentee, write that letter. Ooh, new appointed senators, please come to the front so I can swear you in. Where did he go? Hello. Who else? Hello. Oh, you're leaving? Okay. Okay. Hello. Sorry, I need to find what I'm saying. Yeah, it's typical.
Are you Nice to meet you.
Sorry, guys.
So you're my mentor. So have your email.
Well, keep you my witness. Keep you my witness. maybe Sydney, one day they'll be thanking you. Sorry, guys. I'm so okay. Where is? So put your right hand down on the book. It's Robert's Rules of Order, and raise your other hand up. So repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly affirm that I shall faithfully represent the interests of the student body of North Carolina State University, that I will staunchly uphold and preserve the student body constitution, and that I will dutifully execute the office of student senator for the duration of the 105th session of student government. You guys got it. It's okay. Yay, thank you. You're welcome to sit here. Please grab cards. You will get a name card at the next meeting, November 19th. But glad that you guys are able to be here. Thank you. Oh, I need water.
So I check the how every week. I read the how every week. And you know what I never see? My announcement that I submit. My deputy chief justice. Oh, twice. Really? I fill out the people form, I send it out. Are you sure? Yo, I'm sure. Oh, you want to see? I get the email response. In fact, no, check this out. I just got, thanks for filling out the form, our submission form. It has all my info. I filled it out actually twice. Maybe you've done something. I just wonder if I have. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll break down the sworn.
You don't have to write everything. I don't write everything.
Oh, did you get that?
Just like the name thing.
Did you get your own? Okay, good. And I assume he didn't get his own. And we're doing that next week, right?
Yeah, next week I allotted 30 minutes.
Thank you. I took off for that. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun. Can you tell your staff?
Yeah,
That's exactly one of your staff. No, every.
Oh, yeah. Well, is it imperative that it's going out before
You may come help.
Okay, they can vote
Doesn't really
out.
matter if it's over after cap.
Well, I think that that's where you'll have the most.
It would be our attendance and voting sheet. So this sheet is like really complicated. So that's like why like I never really know. So this is the treasury appointment ones, and so I mean I know that there's that, but I did not.
That's okay.
I don't think I really blame them, but they get all the.
I don't know how to
student meetings
get into a specific column.
But I
See, that's-
should be like intuiting out to you.
I'll try this. I think it just fully inserts like
A new
this
one?
in a new like that.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's a. at least good for now. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Take one. We'll fix it later.
This might.
Yeah, it's not. Where's yours?
Were my minutes bad or my?
It was
my report
funny. It was
I tried to be
funny.
funny, but now I'm realizing I should probably be more professional.
No, you low-key went overtime.
I don't.
But
Yeah, but did I look like I cared? I was like, Paul.
no. Wait. I wanted.
I saw Chief in front of my name. I was like, I should probably take this more seriously.
No, people like an approachable person.
That's what I was saying. Like,
Okay.
if no one's gonna want to talk to me about ethics, or hard ass.
Come walk with me.
Well, if we're walking to Howard County, that's all.
Neil, I didn't get a chance to say congratulations on your new kids.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
So sick. Are you
Hard
committing?
work. What?
Are you committing?
I think I'm gonna make that decision either in a week or in 6 months because their scholarships come out in March. But I'm gonna try to get them to give me some information. Yeah, I don't think we're getting.
I know, this is gonna be a record of like longest.
I think 5 people should just go home.
I'm trying to think. I think we should just have 7 people leave.
Yeah,
Or just put all these funding bills and block past the funding bills because those matter. And then, I mean, since Bella isn't even here for the campus report.
Yeah, I think that was.
Also, it's, well, he's not here tonight, so it won't be as.
Who's not here?
I'm the baby on that, so.
Oh.
He's here. Yeah.
I saw him earlier. You got a little place by the tree there. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's my house. It's kind of cool. That's nice. Yeah. You get to drive with us tonight? Up front?
As long as the computer is.
Yeah.
This thing barely runs Quizlet half the time. We'll see how this works.
Would you like to write a letter to yourself? I see you. Lala,